found out that Jewish women wear wigs.
Well, don't they cut their hair too, though, underneath?
I believe they do, yeah.
Yes.
We're going to have to round up some of these Jews.
Okay.
And then just ask them, like, hey, what's up with the fucking...
Yeah. And maybe get like 6 million of them together.
Well, you know, I don't want to count.
I don't know if you saw this, but a fine, ambitious young lady in the UK is looking to beat the world record for most coital partners in a day.
Oh, she should just go to Birmingham and hang out with the Muslims.
Oh, my God.
Nailed it.
You know how many people have already beaten that record?
Genghis Khan.
There's this fiber in the brain, it's the corpus callosum, and women have more connections there, so they think that they're just able to kind of pick up on things faster.
Every single time a girl has accused me of cheating, she was fucking right. She nailed it 100% of the time. I was able to talk my way out of it a lot of the times, but they were spot on. I'm Gerard Michaels. You guys already know. That is the beautiful Candice Horbacz. Is it back?
Can we just settle on one?
Yeah. Candice Horface.
That sounds worse.
Is that not the one?
No.
That's not great.
I can't. Candice Horbacz?
Sure.
Okay.
How do you
Horbacz.
say it? That's
I say
important.
Horbacz because it's been mispronounced for
Horbacz.
a very long time. It's supposed to be Horbacz, but I'm not saying that.
But we're botching it.
Horbotching it.
Yeah.
Horbacz
Horbacz
isn't
is-
great.
It's not, but I guess it like fits the bill, you know.
Fair. I didn't say it.
That right there.
Just beating the internet to it is all, you know.
Because there's like a Z at the end, right?
Horbacz.
So you're Polish.
I'm not.
You're
the
Hawaiian.
Name is, yeah. Hawaiian, no.
What,
Why do you think I've
like,
gotten
you're
that.
some Asian, though.
Yeah, Japanese.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
So kinda.
Yeah.
Kinda
but, I mean,
Hawaiian.
we need
Hawaiian
to talk about
adjacent.
Hawaii.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember that, but
Yeah,
the
there
day
was
that
a
we'll live in
thing that
infamy.
happened there.
I'm being held personally responsible.
I still haven't forgotten.
But Horbacz is what,
your
German?
Japanese is being held responsible for
For Pearl Harbor.
oh.
I mean, they were.
You know
What do you do on December 7th?
I do what I try to do every day, Dan, and that's try to take over the world.
No,
That
fuck that.
is Dan Anthony. D'Anthony. That's Dan Holloway. Everybody knows Dan Holloway, of course, from the Drinking Bros, the Citizen Podcast, Hard AF, Black Rifle, professionally violent, recreationally good looking, and of course, we have none other than the man himself, the writer, creator, director, actor, star of Normal World, On
Yes.
the Blaze, Dave Landau.
Hi.
Where did the ahoy come from? Where's ahoy?
When I was on Crowder, the first time I was on the show, I said ahoy, and it made him mad. So I turned it into my catchphrase.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yes. Every time I just go ahoy, and then it caught on.
Well, a lot of people don't know that you're actually Martin Landau's great-grandfather.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yes, he's a
You
good
look,
boy.
You look great for your age, by the way.
Yeah. Well, I do drink the blood of children.
Yeah.
I also have a horrible addiction, like when he played Bela Lugosi in Ed Wood. I'm just constantly pumping morphine into my stomach.
Well, all you got to watch out for is that Elvis moment where you can't pass the poop, right?
That's the thing.
As long as you can keep shitting, you can take as many opiates as you
You
want.
can have a liver that's apparently just all made of powder to the
Yeah.
point that it's
Oh, yeah.
actually changed as an organ.
Like the shape is different.
It's like a dried out Stretch Armstrong.
Oh, yeah, that's
completely calcified.
Dude, his liver was just pills.
Oh, my God.
They were like, I don't understand how he died like this way. Like he had a liver that was just nothing but pills.
That's a lived life right there.
Yeah.
If they're questioning some weird way you died, like how could he have possibly not died of the other thing? Then you know you've lived it the right way, I think.
Oh yeah, well plus he weighed like 900 pounds. Like they brought him down that last like time he went on stage at the Hilton.
Singing Fools Rush in, just sweating his ass off,
just
dude. It's like
not-
65 degrees in that room, and he's just pouring sweat.
And you can tell he's just, because of the Colonel, he's never been given time to exercise. He's got to feed a guy's gambling addiction. I mean, it's sad because he
It
was
was
really
such a
talented.
sad movie.
Oh,
Did
yeah,
you see it?
Yeah, I saw the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked the movie too because they didn't paint him as a thief of rock and roll because he wasn't. They showed him that he like grew up like that, dirt poor, around all those people, and like that was part of his culture.
Mm-hmm.
The King.
No, Elvis.
Yeah.
I think it was just called Elvis,
Oh, okay.
wasn't it?
No, they called him the king.
Oh,
they,
oh,
no,
he's
they
talking
did
about the
call him
movie.
the King. I'm talking
Yeah,
about
yeah.
the movie.
Oh, I
didn't
know
see
what
the
it was
movie.
called. It had that Butler guy was in it.
Mm-hmm.
Gerard Butler. Can you
Yeah,
imagine him
Gerard
playing
Butler
Elvis?
playing Elvis.
Like quoting 300 as Elvis.
This is Memphis.
He plays the last 3 weeks of Elvis. Russell Crowe plays the last day.
Oh, he looks like the last day now. Jesus Christ.
He is on an Elvis arc, isn't he?
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
Russell Crowe.
Oh, dude.
I mean,
Gladiator?
but how old is Russell Crowe? He's in his 60s now?
He's got to be 60.
How did Elvis make it to 60s? I think he was in his late 40s, wasn't he?
No, he was like 43.
Oh my God.
Yeah, 44.
Pictures of him at the end are him in his early 40s?
Yes.
Oh, my God.
And he
gotta-
was,
I gotta
he's a pretty
verify
hot
this.
fella, if I do say so myself, up until, the last 5 years. Well, there's a scene in the
There was no
movie.
Ozempic back then, in fairness.
No, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
He would be fine now because
Yeah.
they would have just been jamming
Yeah,
it in
he was-
him along
he
with
was-
everything else.
He was 42.
42, yeah.
42?
42 and a half.
When he died looking like Jim Jones,
Yeah.
he was 42 years
Yeah.
old?
He was younger than I am.
Holy shit. Viva Las Vegas. Well, Dave, tell people. Now, this is the second time you've been on. A lot of our audience knows you. We love you. Now, you've done some pretty incredible stuff. Like, you talked about Louder with Crowder. Before that, you were on Anthony Cumia's show, and that actually meant something. And you did. You did.
He'll love hearing that.
You've done Last Comic Standing, man. What was that like, doing Last Comic Standing?
Great. I won.
Like the whole thing?
No, I didn't win. No, it was pretty awful. It was good. I mean, you got some exposure, but then you get the rug pulled out under you on national television.
So
and
I
you're
just
like,
burnt all this material I could never use again. And what do I get for this? They're like,
no,
well,
the secret there is
do you like Arby's, kid?
Yeah, you just keep using it.
Oh, yeah. Solid.
That's what I do.
Yeah, you and me both, man.
I try to just mix it up because some people want to hear older jokes and then some people want to hear new jokes, and you can't please everybody. So I'm like, here's a bit of both.
Well, I think you're one of the top 10 working comics today, man. You're unbelievable watching you work an audience and force a room that is like, should I laugh at this? Is this okay? And then just they can't stop themselves from laughing. It's so incredible watching you beat their will.
Thank you.
you destroy whatever instinct towards like PC or like resistance that society has put on them, and they give way to the pure humor of it.
Yeah, like last night, just I don't know why it got very dark. You were there the night before, though. I was just very dark all weekend. That's where my head was. But I was talking about how the day I figured out I was an ass man was when JFK was assassinated, and then you could see his wife's ass as she was like trying to like pick up the brains.
That
and
happened
stuff.
for a lot of people. I think
Yeah,
Jackie O was.
I'm not alone, right?
No, Jackie O was an institution in many ways.
Yeah.
The first nice white butt that a lot of dudes saw probably
Was really
because
that
back
day.
then white women didn't do that. They
No.
didn't have butts.
Yeah, no, I mean, just look, good looking pussy above all.
And
else.
I'm like
let's be
Abe
real.
watching a Zapruder film, and I'm like, well, she's a fine looking
Look
lady.
at that thing clap back and to the left.
Seriously.
Back and to the left.
And then it's like you think about it, you're like, wow, that was a horrible moment for our country, but was it worth it?
yeah, right.
I think kinda. You know,
Back on the
I
market.
feel bad for him.
Yeah.
So he wrote a hilarious joke about Aubrey Plaza on Normal World the other day, and then my honest reaction to hearing that Aubrey Plaza is now a widow was like, "There's a job opening."
I mean, that's true.
I mean, she almost probably definitely did it, right?
I mean, you know, I don't know. It's hard to tell.
Well, he did it.
things are a
It turns out,
character.
right?
or
Yeah,
not.
he killed her. Yeah.
I have no idea what we're talking about.
Aubrey Plaza, you know who she
Actress.
is? She played
Parks and Rec?
yeah, April in Parks and Rec, the
Never
really
saw it.
deadpan kind of angry girl.
She had a
was,
stroke a few
She probably
years
had
ago.
the most aggressive of the of those iPhone leaks, the fappening when it happened.
yeah.
I mean, she was playing heavy metal in the.
Is that true?
Oh yeah.
Well,
Playing,
So what happened to
playing
her
that thing
husband?
like
Killed
like a
himself.
Ramon.
yeah,
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
over the
Okay.
holidays.
killed himself like 2 weeks ago.
She was also
Oh, wow.
in
Yeah, she
What's
was
His Nuts
apparently leaving him.
versus
I
the
think
Universe,
for
Scott
Gerard
Pilgrim versus the
Carmichael.
Universe.
Is that true?
I think so,
Sorry, I
yeah.
heard two things. What
Yeah,
was
well,
it?
I didn't hear either thing.
Yeah, she. The rumor, as it were, is that she had left him for Gerard Carmichael, and they were all buddy at a Knicks game. And then the next day, the guy was like,
Oh man,
checking out.
I'll teach her.
Yeah.
She has to live with that the rest of her life.
Yeah, well, his last good deed was to avoid an awkward conversation with her.
That's true.
He's like, I don't need to have that.
And it's like, I don't feel like breaking up.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna quit.
I'm out. Check, please.
This is so wrong.
Well, it's, you don't want to do all that paperwork.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah,
I get it.
Now you're getting divorced. Let's be honest. She's the breadwinner. That's even another level of
He wrote
humiliating.
I Heart Huckabees, so...
So she's the breadwinner.
I don't know what that is. So. What is?
It's a David. God, I'm trying to think of his last name. It's a movie with a guy who has to put stupid wigs in everything that he makes. And I'm trying to think of his last name.
Yeah, I hate it.
Every one of his movies is ruined by wigs. Like, even if it's a good movie, you're like, why do you have these wigs on every character? Like, they should be wearing barrister wigs.
Yeah, like
it's the worst, dude.
Yeah, he has a motif. Like, I think what he's going for is like for Woody Allen to watch his movies and be like, this is just too Jewish. So, this is just, like you want Woody Allen to be like.
David O. Russell,
David O. Russell, that's it.
which is already annoying.
Yes.
Just hearing that out loud.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
And if you just look at any of his movies, the wiggery is unbelievable.
Do you think that's a function of the people he chooses to work with? Does he just like really fetishize bald people and he has to put wigs on them?
Yeah, like, because I know that one had like Jeremy Renner maybe and Dustin Hoffman. Yeah, and it's just like, we need to make sure we have like pompadours on every single actor in my movies. It's terrible.
Yeah, speaking of Jewish
I hate
wigs,
him.
I just found out that Jewish women wear wigs that
Yeah.
are supposed to look like their regular hair.
The Orthodox, right?
Yeah.
They're really...
Big thing in Miami. I didn't know.
What's
like,
the purpose of that?
It's something religious. It's almost similar to I suppose, the more
Yarmulke?
extreme, Shiite Muslim where, no
Hijab.
man but your husband should be allowed to see your hair.
Well, don't they cut their hair too, though, underneath?
I believe they do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's super short
So
underneath.
is this like a Samson thing
I don't
with the
know.
Jews? Or what's, I've never heard this before.
This is. I just found out about this like 2 weeks ago.
Is it so the men can have the curls?
I suppose
They're harvesting women's hair.
Yeah, is that
for
what
the
it is?
Hasidic
So they can
Jews?
have the swirly...
Yeah. I think here's what we should
the
do.
pigtails.
Here's what we should do to get answers.
And God said to David, "Perm thine sideburns."
I think they just come out natural like that, bud.
Yeah. How ironic is pigtails on a Jew?
Well, here's the only way we're going to know the answer to this for sure is we're going to have to round
I can
up some
say
of these
that.
Jews.
I-
We're going to have to round up some of
not
these
Jewish.
Jews. Right.
What was that now?
Sorry.
What did I say? We're going to have to round up some of these Jews.
Okay.
And then just ask them, like, hey,
Okay.
what's up with the fucking
Yeah.
hair
And maybe
thing?
get like 6 million of them together.
Well, I don't want to count.
I was doing a bit last night where I don't know if I can keep it. It was about if you go back to kill baby Hitler, and then it would suck if like you started fading away and you're like, oh no, I was related. And then, but it would be worse as if then you came back and you're like, now there's just too many. Like everybody's complaining.
Yeah.
Like you can't
That would
get
be a
seated at
completely
Chinese
different.
restaurant.
That would be a completely different Back to the Future. It's like Back to the Future Jewish
Yeah,
edition.
you're like, should I go back and revive baby Hitler? I feel like there were tippers before.
You're fighting yourself in the past, trying to save baby Hitler.
Yeah.
It's an infinite loop of.
Yeah, you have to stop
No, it turns
yourself.
out we were right. Kill him. We were right the first time. Kill him. No, stop.
We had an idea.
Don't kill him. Don't kill him.
We had an idea. Something. It's somewhat similar to this. So it's called Trans Frank.
Okay.
And
That won't
it is-
offend anyone.
No, because why would it? Obviously, why would it?
Also written by the uncle, or
No. So it's Anne Frank, and she realizes that the only way to defeat the Nazis is to become a man. Right?
Yeah.
So then we have some just jacked dude running around in a wig killing Nazis.
is it Danny Trejo? Please tell me
No,
it's Danny
well,
Trejo.
I would have liked that, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think going from, white 14-year-old girl to 78-year-old Mexican man might have been too jarring for the
Think
audience.
so?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have been able to, suspend disbelief.
No.
It
But
just becomes machete.
in space.
Put it in Deutsch. Machete in Deutsch. So with your knowledge of music and movies is through the roof. If you had to pick your top 3 favorite films of all time, what would you think they would be?
Oh God, that's a tough one.
Right now.
2001: A Space Odyssey, The Godfather 1 and 2. I mean, it's kind of a tie game there. And then I'm gonna say Ghostbusters, and I don't care what anybody says.
Well, good for you.
Ghostbusters number 3.
Good for you. I mean, look, you could have gotten tripped up there, but I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it, it's a perfect film. It's funny. It's good for the whole
Good
family.
cast, yeah.
Great cast.
Yeah. It's got enough edge to it, but not so much that you
Has
can't
heart.
take your kid.
Yeah. Like, it's also why, like, I would put Uncle Buck up there, Trains, Planes, and Automobiles. But if they have to go by just, like, masterpieces.
Yeah.
I'm
And then
gonna call
also
it
it
one.
has, like, you know, it doesn't go over the top with it, but it does recognize the natural order of things. There's 3 white scientists and then a black janitor, right?
Yes.
That's what you got out
Who
of it
was
mostly.
supposed to be played by Eddie Murphy, but couldn't do it, so I went to Ernie
Is that really
Hudson.
right?
That would have
Yeah.
been, I don't think that would have made the movie better.
No, I think it would have made it worse because
Yeah,
he
that
would
movie
have
was
eaten
perfect.
up all the scenery.
Do you think it's weird that when they made the female version, the black girl was still a janitor? I'm just kidding. I would never watch that movie. I have no idea what happened.
No, she had a very noble job. She worked in a subway at taking tolls.
Is that real?
Yes, the other 3 were
damn it.
scientists.
No, but this is what they do, though.
That was the worst movie ever made, ever.
The anti-racist woke people in Hollywood are the most unbelievably subliminally racist people on earth. The Boys.
That's why they get so mad at when we joke around. Like we actually have friends that are different races.
Yeah.
These white liberal women that live in cities that have never met a black, but a black.
And it's interesting you say that because the
they're
Boys.
sensitive. Like, no, they're not. What are you talking about?
Yeah, the writer of this last season of The Boys, they opened it up to pretty much an all-female writing crew. And what they did is the new superhero is a hyper-empowered black woman. That's all they ever are anymore. And her superpower, she's smart. She knows things.
Oh, it's not
She can beat you.
sass.
She can beat you in Jeopardy
Oh,
and
is
then
it-
manipulate you.
This is Wakanda 2.0.
This is what I'm saying. Like, so, like, you know, when you
It's nonsense.
when you're doing, so you can think of anything. You can make, the evil white guy who is, the embodiment of Trump, Homelander, shoots lasers out of his eyes, bullets bounce off his chest. The black hero that they come up with, slightly above average IQ.
No.
Like, that's like, what are you guys fucking nuts?
lazy.
How is this not racist? That one knows things. That one can beat you in an argument.
This one can read.
It's nuts. Their other black one, really fast. First season. So they've got 2 black heroes. One is super fast. The other knows stuff. It's nuts. It's the most racist shit on earth.
How do you feel about women reading and writing in Hollywood?
What about
Unnecessary?
arithmeticking too? Because the 3 R's are important.
But it's the same
Yes.
thing with
They're
drag.
making us all look bad.
Well, the trans and the drags, right? Like, that's the other thing. It's,
A caricature of what it is to be a woman.
precisely.
Yeah.
I mean, so you're going to get in this all made up and, like, you're a 1950s pinup girl?
Well,
Like,
that's what Neil deGrasse Tyson was saying when he was trying to argue for gender fluidity. He's like, well, one day if I'm feeling like a woman, you could put makeup on, and then if you feel more masculine, you just take the makeup off, and you're like, oh, that's what it means to be a woman. I'm so glad.
Dude, that was crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's weird.
And that's
And
how
that
you
is
end up.
double down and
normal.
triple
That's how
down
you
on it.
end up with underwear commercials with 15 mentally ill people that have dicks with blood spots on the front of their underwear.
Oh, that was
What
gross.
in the absolute fuck
Yeah.
are you talking
see
about?
that.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
It's like
No,
all women.
Outside of
it
your
said-
sketch.
Well, yeah,
they
my
didn't
I think
sketch
have-
it
is turned
said
to
all
real.
women have periods. All women
No, they
have
didn't
periods.
have. They
or
didn't
something
have.
like
No, it
that.
was, all
dicks.
people.
It was dudes. It was dudes bleeding. Like I say dudes, but
Yeah.
masculine presenting.
But if
people
a man is
but
bleeding
they
out
were
of his
biologically
urethra,
a woman.
God damn it!
it's important to see a doctor.
Yeah.
Like, it's not.
Yeah.
You shouldn't see blood in your underwear and be like, I'm a lady.
This is fine.
It's you have cancer.
Yeah, she's right though. No, it was male to female, or
Oh, it was-
No,
I'm sorry, female to male.
yeah.
which is
Oh.
also not. I mean,
Yeah.
this
the
this
wound hadn't
terminology is
healed.
nonsense. No, it's just
Come for a
fucking
photo shoot.
mentally. They should. I could redo it now. Mentally ill women also have periods. I know that. I've dated many of them. None of them that wanted to be dudes.
Almost
but-
exclusively.
Yeah, I hear many women have them.
What's that?
I've heard many women have them.
What?
Periods.
Oh, we got to do something about that.
I know.
Round them up to
Attract bears.
That's true. That's where the red tent happened because they were attracting predators, so they would take the bleeding women, and then that's where the isolation happened and the red tent was made.
That's what
Yes.
they told him.
My favorite.
That's what they told him.
That's why the birth-
this is for your own safety. Going out on the tent.
That's why the birth rate was high, because women were trying to get pregnant so they didn't get thrown to the fucking bears.
Yeah.
Man. Holy
My
shit.
favorite episode ever of television was in the 80s, and it didn't air immediately. They had to air it later, and it was Married with Children. And they go up to a cabin, and everybody's period synchronizes. So animals start surrounding the cabin. So Al has to figure out ways to go and fight them. So he makes like this suit of many hooks out of fish hooks and a raincoat. And it's just,
It's
I don't
like
know.
chainmail, but out of fish hooks or what?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Even
funny.
that-
Oh yeah, he just gets stuck to the bear, and like they're just saying what's happening.
And that's when women were freaking awesome too. Like a lot of people don't know. You know, that show's misogynist, patriarchy, the whole nine. I mean, it's just a watered down All in the Family, right? But the one that directed a lot of it and wrote a lot of it.
Amanda Burse, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean,
Who's a lesbian?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And wrote herself as, you know, the annoying Karen neighbor
yeah.
next door.
Yeah.
And she's one of the brilliant minds behind that. You know,
And constant jokes about how she looked. Like there's one where Ted McGinley is like looking in a Santa line, and he's like, "Excuse me, little boy." Oh, sorry. He's like, "Excuse me, Marcy." Then he finally gets to her, and he's like, "Excuse me, little boy." And it's his wife.
If you go to like a comedy show and a comic walks on stage that you didn't know previously, you had no concept of who this dude is, and he's super tall, super short, super white, super black, gay, big muscular dude, fat, whatever, and he doesn't talk about that in his act, I'm like, I don't know. If you can't address what's going on stage right now, I feel like this isn't going to be funny. Like if you don't have enough self-awareness to roast yourself along with everybody, because it kind of, you know, one of the points of self-deprecation in comedy is to give everybody else permission to laugh at all the other fucked up shit you say.
Correct.
Like, hey, I'm not immune to this. I'm an asshole too. Let's fuck it up. You know what I mean? If you don't touch on that a little bit, I get very suspicious of that comedian.
The whole thing should be vulnerability. I mean, that's why I even tell stories in my act about everything I've messed up. I talk about me before I talk about somebody else. You have to. I mean, you have to take shots at yourself. Otherwise, yeah, I don't think there's a lot of... There's not a lot of, I don't know, it does lack integrity, I think. And one thing that sucked about that whole movement with Hannah Gadsby was she said, you know, she's like, well, self-deprecation is a white male privilege. And it's like, what?
yeah.
So it's
Sort
just
of
like,
punchlines, apparently.
I mean, Richard Pryor spent a lot of time making fun of himself for being a crackhead.
Pryor was one of the
Jesus
first people
Christ.
to be truly vulnerable
Yeah,
on stage.
yeah.
Like he kind of reinvented it when it went from one-liners to a guy who, I think we talked about this last time, like a guy who's actually talking about his
Storytelling,
addictions and, you know, that he was abusive, and he took accountability in front of everybody and just told his story.
That said, though, there is a thin line where you want to be self-deprecating and you want to bring the audience in, but you also don't want to be pathetic. And you know, you don't want pity.
Yeah, you're not
you
trying
want
to get
humor.
pity,
Yeah. And there's a lot of people that use it as a crutch, and it's like always a callback, and you know, so there is that kind of line, right? And especially if you're a crowd work guy, and I love crowd work, and you're great at crowd work.
Thank you.
It's got to be him,
So are you.
me, him, me, because then if I come to you and I mess with you, and you don't laugh, well, now you're snitching on yourself.
Yeah.
Because he's laughing, she's laughing, I'm laughing. You know, like we're all in this thing together. Like, you know, and sometimes you read the room wrong. There was two people came to, you know, he let me drop into his show the other night, and there was two people with masks on, and I was like, oh, here we fucking go. Here we go. You know, and they ended up being awesome. They were incredible. Now, I don't understand. She took the mask off, hang it from her ear to drink and eat all show, and then put the mask back on.
After.
That I don't, you know what?
You
Don't go for
know,
it.
it's like saying a prayer before you raw dog a prostitute.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Like,
You know,
hey, God, please protect me from this dirty whore. Please. And he will.
Oh, shit, that's funny, man.
Just remember which beads are the rosary.
Well,
Speaking of raw dog and a prostitute,
usually.
I don't know if you saw this, but somebody, a fine, ambitious young lady in the UK is looking to beat the world record for most coital partners in a day.
Oh, she should just go to Birmingham and hang out with the Muslims.
Oh my God.
Nailed it.
You know, she could.
Topical, accurate.
Yeah, just take a
fuck you.
Just take a bus in India.
Yeah, anywhere. Go to the nicest hotel in India and just wait.
All right, let me try it again.
you don't even have to
Trying
pay the
break the
guys.
record for most consensual partners in a single day.
Come on, semantics.
Yeah, that's true. You know how many people have already beaten that record?
Genghis Khan. It's like 1,000 was
Oh,
a
yeah.
joke.
I think everybody's related to Genghis Khan a little.
He has 45
prodigious.
million living
Yeah.
descendants.
I'm
Yeah.
a little bit in my 23andMe.
Of Genghis Khan?
You can tell
Yeah.
it's
It
Genghis
says
Khan.
it suggests that it's highly probable.
Also,
How?
it's Chinggis. But
How did he have time
Gengis.
to conquer?
Gengis.
Chinggis, I think.
Yeah,
Chinggis.
something
With all that.
It was just all. He was like Wilt Chamberlain.
Oh, yeah.
You
Who
know,
has the time to conquer stuff and fuck 24 hours a day?
I don't know he was doing much conquering.
No, he had armies for that.
Yeah, he was administrating.
Yeah, well, look, hey, good administrating.
Yeah. Coldest line of all time. Shows up to the walls of Constantinople. And they were like, go away. And he's like, don't blame me. I'm in the wrath of God. Blame whatever you did that made God sick me upon you. Like,
Yeah, that's
what now?
that's a panty dropper. It explains why everybody's related to him.
I was like, what the fuck? Yeah, it's like my buddy Chase Sherman, he was a fighter. He had one of the coldest lines of all time, man. He's got like he's got this cool little thing. He's got it's this giant dude with like a bio, you know, the Bayou or whatever accent. He's got like these NWA glasses on. He's like, I want to leave the type of tape that when somebody watches it, they realize getting in the ring with me is going to change their life forever. And I was like, that's a cold ass honky.
I like that.
Yeah, that is yeah. Because I'm gonna kiss you.
I'm gonna lick your face. Man, so you did Kill Tony, dude.
I did.
I thought it was incredible.
Thank
I thought
you.
it was. What was it like being on? I mean, literally, is there a bigger comedy show in the world right now?
I don't know.
That's the Tops.
It's-
Topsies Turbies.
It could be the big one.
That's the big one.
Yeah.
With the Tony Hinchcliffe,
Yes.
and then all of the homeless that want to line up and try to become famous.
Yeah, they were literally many homeless on the stage that brought
Really?
it up. Oh yeah.
Was that normal?
Well, yeah, they weren't homeless before, but then they moved here to live in a car so they could be on that show.
Oh no.
And it's hard for me to really make fun of that because I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, you're so very broken.
Go.
I mean,
Going for
that's not too different than the way a lot of comedians in the 80s and 90s got their start, though. Frankly, moving to LA and fucking sleeping in their goddamn car and go to the comedy store.
Yeah, I
tonight
mean
trying
that
to
is
get in.
true. Yeah.
Like that used to be a big thing in LA.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
but also get a job, right? Like,
Yeah,
There's
I mean,
also
you know,
more than one
there's
thing.
plenty of work to do in Austin, like cleaning up the other homeless people's shit off the street.
there's a lot of that.
That's true. I mean, somebody's got to do it.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it.
It's not
Fucking,
you.
I'd stay out in the
Selling fentanyl
burbs.
to the homeless.
That would,
You know, there's fentanyl test kits
Oh, yeah.
in a fucking vending machine, and I don't think it costs money. I think you just turn that little dial and it comes out.
They're free, and then you can. I have Narcan in my car.
Or Narcan, that's what it is, yeah.
Yeah, Narcan's free.
Now, why do you have it in your car, Dave?
in
That's-
case I'm around someone who ODs because it's so common.
But why would you stop it?
I would want to help someone.
Well,
I'm
here's
in,
what-
I'm in recovery,
have you-
so I would want to.
Yeah,
help
sure.
The
Have you
person.
watched somebody die before?
Yes.
Okay, well then you've got it out of your system.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah. I've seen.
You want to watch at least
3
one
people.
person's
I was
lights
wondering
go
where
out.
that was going.
5 people.
You want to watch their lights go out at least once.
When was the last time you watched somebody die, Dan?
What are you, a fucking cop?
No. Curious.
Next question.
There's a different like. I've seen it in horrible situations. I feel like you were making eye contact. And I mean that as a compliment.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, I
like
got it.
I
Yeah, No, you don't shush them because all they're doing is gargling anyways.
Oh, wow.
yeah.
There's no
See?
point. Like they can't. They can't. If they can
Different.
control it, it'd be one thing. But that's like, what's
Yeah.
the point? Now?
You're like, you sound silly.
You sound like a fucking
Why do you have
ass.
Why do you have Narcan, pussy?
Yeah.
Listen to him gargle to death. You fucking loser.
Well, did you? Let's say. I think there should be a tax. If you're going to be a good citizen, and Narcan this dude, you got to take what's on him. Take his shoes at least, right?
I think that's. I mean, I probably wouldn't want one of the. It would depend on who's ODing.
Sure, yeah.
You know, if you get a rapper, yeah, I'll probably take your shoes, maybe
And
a
the
necklace,
chains and
yeah, chains.
Yeah, maybe
But
the
yeah,
car
if it's
keys.
if it's just a guy on the street, well, and it really depends. If I look at the guy and I'm like, yeah, you're better off It's hard. It's a hard choice to make.
Yeah, like a
that's-
coup de grace. Like I'm just gonna fucking
like we're,
give you your last rites.
better
and send
for
on
you.
to the
I think it's like
afterlife,
Spider-Man. Everybody gets one.
Yeah,
You know?
fair enough,
you gotta kind of keep just
But then,
driving.
for the principle of it, maybe you do need to tax them either way, even if it's just like smoked cigarette butts. Like I'm taking what's yours, son.
Yeah, what you have.
fucked up.
Yeah,
But
like
what if
you
they
that's
were
in
just
the Bible.
taking like an Adderall though that wasn't an Adderall?
Then their shoes will
or
be clean.
weed. That
true.
it's
Their
being-
shoes, you
it's-
can tell by the shoes. If their shoes are clean, then they showed up to party. If their shoes are fucked or they're not wearing them, they've been partying for a little too long.
I think the problem, Candice, here is that you're taking anything he says seriously when you shouldn't be.
To be honest, if I saw a crackhead,
I actually know he's 40% to 80% serious.
I would say if it was just some dipshit, because I like recreational drugs as well. If it's somebody that got themselves into a bad situation, fine. But if it's somebody that's got open wounds on their arm,
Yeah,
I don't
never know.
that I'm
I
going to get
mean,
involved in that.
everybody's got that story, like how they got there, and I get that though. I mean, it's tough to say. Yeah, like I don't know who it's more valuable for, but that's why I think it's also free for that reason. Is so you can save literally anybody, or they can save themselves by having it on them.
Yeah.
And like you said, the problem is so much stuff comes over, and it's Adderall, it's whatever, but it's all crushed with fentanyl, and it's all pill presses. And I mean, smoking it and weed now, you can kill a baby in the next room.
that right?
It's
Oh,
dude.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, you can. It's like it's extraordinary.
Congratulations, a fresh new horror for
Something
you.
else to worry about.
Kids have picked up baggies and died.
Yeah,
Is that right?
it's
Yes.
it's transdermal. Yeah,
Yeah.
Really? Oh
yeah.
my God.
I'm always yelling at my oldest because he likes to try to. This is the thing about it's trying to save the planet and all of that green movement. He's like, "Oh, trash! Let me pick it." I was like, "Don't fucking touch that."
Well, here's what we could
Don't
do.
touch that.
Let's take them to the ocean and we'll strangle turtles. Fuck the planet. This is our planet. And if
It
anybody
is.
gets in my way, plastic, straws, turtles, fuck them.
I don't know
I've
what was
said
in
it.
your cold brew, but it's fucking pretty serious.
I'm really tired, and I'm operating at my core level right now.
The ocean is filled with monsters, and we need
It
to
is.
be
We
aware.
talked about that the other
I
day.
say
Yeah.
that too. I just don't go in it.
Yeah, that's
No.
one option. The other option is to go in ready to fucking fight.
Yeah.
Don't get into the ocean unless you're ready to fight.
Have you seen Dave's set?
It's a
Yeah, I've seen.
Oh, dude.
it's a whole planet though, filled of it's a planet within our planet, filled with monsters.
And
You think
here's
there's,
how you know
aliens?
it's.
What's with the aliens? Your boy Sean Ryan and these guys in the ocean?
I'll get right to that next. Here's how you know what he's saying is true. We don't even look.
Nope.
Yeah.
People will fucking get in a little piece of plastic with joysticks and try to see the Titanic. Nobody's trying to find out what the monsters are down there. But we're trying to
And
go to
there's-
Mars and everybody
Yeah.
else. We sent a golden disc into space with Carl Sagan's voice on it. Like,
Yeah.
hey, we're fucking nice.
Yeah,
blow
it's
us
interesting you
up.
say that because
And
I would
seven-
go to
sorry.
Mars
7
before I would go to the
billionaires
bottom
get
of the
So,
ocean.
like,
Folded
if
an
they
accordion.
developed tech where you could get to the bottom of the Marianas Trench, I don't know that I would go down there.
To where the Titanic is?
No, like the Marianas Trench, the deepest part of the
Oh,
ocean.
the ocean,
right?
yeah.
Like, I don't if I knew for 100% certainty that it was going to be safe, I don't know if I would go down there.
I don't want to see it. They find new species like every year where they're like, oh, yeah, it's just a giraffe shark and it's been down there forever and it'll eat your face. And you're like, I don't know.
The fuck? I don't
Yeah,
want
it's just one more thing
I
that
don't
can
wanna-
kill
no.
you.
By the way, it's telepathic and it knows all your fears.
Exactly, yeah.
And you know what extremophiles are, right? You're familiar with this? It's like
don't.
it's like creatures that can exist in a very extreme circumstances. Like there are microbes that can exist in space, in the vacuum of space.
One of those little
Water bears.
Yeah.
So
Tardigrades or whatever?
tardigrade, is
Yeah.
what it's called.
The only
yeah.
water bear I met. Anyway,
There are these tardigrades. I think they can exist in temperatures up to like 275 degrees or something like that. Like in some right at the edge of molten lava. can
Really?
exist, yeah. So you can like imagine what can exist under that kind of pressure at the bottom of the goddamn ocean. It's got to be armored. There's no other way. It couldn't be like a cephalopod or something, right?
it could also be like a mutant or like bottom feeder.
But the pressure would crush it to flat, right? Like there would have
Yeah, I
to be
guess that's
something
true.
pushing outward. It would have to
Yeah.
be made of like a rock. It would have to be a live rock. That's where.
So the aliens aren't down there then, or
Well, crabs are kind of live rocks.
Yeah,
They are
it
just
could
delicious
it could
too.
be like tissue like that inside, but it would have to be inside of real armor, right? because you can take a crab and press your thumb into its back and crush it.
Yeah.
Like if you go below 2,000 feet into the water, your body just crushes immediately. Basically.
That's what those billionaires found out.
Yeah.
Oh, they sure did. They're like, don't worry, the guy with the remote control from a PlayStation's got us covered.
Can you imagine?
Yeah, getting on. Well, first of all, if I had $1 billion, I'm like, yeah, I'm not getting on a submarine that goes into the water.
No, you could build your own submarine for
Yeah.
that. Why would you get into a little plastic box?
Crazy.
That a guy who rents jet skis has.
It was Danny McBride. He's got a fucking full-on mullet. Like, hell yeah, it'll work. Yeah, you know how many? Do you know how many people have died right after hell yeah, it'll work from a guy in a mullet?
I don't know.
Yeah,
Fuck
a
it.
lot.
Let's go.
Let's do this.
Let's do it.
Where did they launch out of?
It would have been off of another vessel. You couldn't get that thing out there, right?
Yeah, but they
I don't know if it was a big yacht or if it was some kind of explorer or a cargo ship or what. Actually,
England though, wasn't it England?
Oh, you mean like where? Like
I thought it was
country?
Australia.
Australia.
Yeah, I
It
think
might have
it
been
was, yeah.
Australia.
Okay.
Which technically, I guess, is England.
Sort of. Yeah.
Kind of, maybe.
The prisoners.
Maybe.
Yeah, I just why I don't want to even see it though. Like you can actually just turn on the Discovery Channel and there's cameras that have been down there and you're like, cool. You can go to a zoo and see all the sad fish you want. Just go to the Detroit Zoo. I'll show you the saddest polar bear you've ever laid eyes on. They lay there like they're dead. You think they're on the drugs that half the city's on. Like it's enjoyable for me to be like, son, this is a lion, isn't it great? But you're aware of the fact that the lion just wants you to kill it.
The lion's doing 30 to life.
It's really like,
What are you in for, bud?
yeah, they have an aquarium. You just go in and you're like, yeah, it's a shark. There's some bright stuff. We don't have to go into a igloo cooler that a guy said is a submarine.
The concept of these like enclosed zoos is pretty nuts if you really think about it.
Yeah.
It's like somebody was like, I'm going to take this wild animal that roams thousands of miles, and we're just going to put it in like a little fucking 12 by 12. He'll be fine, right?
Because we
Like,
think that they're Disney characters, and you're like, no, the bear loves me. It's like, no, the bear's drugged up.
Well, in Russia,
I was just gonna say that.
that's the only thing that I'm jealous of Russian people about.
The
the
bears.
relationship
Is
with
like you can
bears.
fucking make friends with a fucking bear, you piece of shit.
That's true.
That's all I've ever wanted in life.
Yeah.
And
I
I'll
always
never get it. I know I'll never get it.
well, once we take over Canada, you can probably.
I don't want their bears.
You don't want the Canadian
Nah, I want
bears.
bears that don't speak English, dude.
And
Those are the best
grizzlies.
ones. Yeah, they don't fuck around up there.
Brown bears are the cool ones.
Yeah.
Wow, I don't
Well, I don't know if I'd say it's cool.
Yeah.
Well, black bears, aren't bad. Grizzlies are.
Well, I mean,
A black
13%
bear
of
will
all,
eat you.
all
A
bear
grizzly
crime comes from
will
black bears,
kill you
though.
and then leave you.
Yeah, but a black bear is relatively. They're not that like they've been around humans. I mean, I've had families of black bears walk by me.
Yeah, and they're not the bigger variety. They're like 400 to 600 pounds. I
Yeah,
think.
they'll do like somersaults. My son threw a hamburger in Tennessee off the porch, and it wasn't 5 minutes before a black bear was trying to get up the side of the house that we rented.
Get outta here.
Dead serious.
Where are them burgers at, motherfucker?
Yeah, and I was like, fortunately there was some fencing where it stopped, but I was just like, we have a gun, right? Not that it would even matter. You shoot a bear, like you shoot that thing in the heart, it'll run 100 yards before it dies.
Is that right, really?
Yeah, you're still going out.
Which is one of the bears you're supposed to get really like loud when they come by, and the other one you just
You
lay
fight
there
a
and
black
pray?
bear and then you pretend
Black-
to be dead for a brown
Black,
bear.
Is that how it
black
works?
bear, if you've got metal shit, clang it together in front of you.
A
That's
black
helpful.
bear?
Yeah.
See, I never knew that.
You fight
so-
a black bear, you pretend to be dead with
Do
a
you know how many
brown bear.
people have been killed going, and then the wrong bear?
This motherfucker,
bear's
what's
like,
this guy doing?
Yeah.
Wrong bear,
He's like,
motherfucker.
This isn't working at all.
You fucked up. You fucked up, dude.
This is went the complete opposite direction.
Yeah.
That's stupid.
That's what a white crackhead must feel like when the Indian dude is following the black college graduate around the fucking convenience store. The white crackhead's like, you got the wrong dude, buddy.
Wrong bear, bro. Wrong
If I
bear.
ever survived a bear attack and they were like, what did you do? I'd be like, well, I was crying and shitting my pants. And I think at some point I felt bad for me.
And it would just be out of the one hole in your face. That's left.
That's the one thing, like, where that's crazy when they do interview people that have been attacked, and it's just like, I'm just blessed to be here, and he's just got like half an eye left, and it's like one arm. I'm like, are you sure?
Yeah, I'm not trying to get blessed if that's what it is.
No.
That's
and
a
like,
rough one.
that's why the end of Grizzly Man I love, because it ends exactly how it should. by the sounds of him being ripped apart by bears.
That's brutal.
And his girlfriend telling him to fight back.
Yeah.
Like, what does he know?
And then her running in there to try to help.
I'm sorry, what martial art exactly is he supposed to be exploiting against this animal?
Have you seen
Berimbolo!
Have you ever been scratched by a cat or a dog? That's a bear.
Yeah.
Dude, that's a great point. That's a great... Yeah. I got scratched by a cat one time, but I threw it against the wall instinctually.
Yeah. Well, this could be a solution to the homeless problem as well. Hear me out.
Okay.
Right? I don't know how you guys grew
Russian bears or what kind?
up. Maybe, right?
Okay.
So in the South, when you grow up, there's something where your dad will take you out to a field somewhere and put a watermelon on the ground and shoot it with a shotgun. This is like it's not an old wives' tale, this is real, to show you what a gun can do, right? And he'll be like, that could be your head. Don't fuck with these guns, right? That's how you keep. That's why kids in the country don't fucking shoot themselves in the face and foot all the time. Maybe we grab a homeless guy, bring a bear out once a year on live TV. You know what I mean?
What if we train them to fight bears?
What the fuck is in that coffee, dude?
Well, we got to get rid of these homeless people. That's all I'm saying.
There's no bears in Austin.
No, that's why it's on TV.
There was one squeegee guy.
There's bears in Austin.
They're on 5th and El Dorado over there.
They're all over Austin.
Where's it 4th? There's some gay shit over there.
Yeah,
Anyways,
I've been attacked by several bears.
I'm sure you have.
They start
I
with your
believe
drink.
that.
Just last night.
Town.
I accidentally walked into this place and there was a hole. I'm like, I don't know.
What happens? I should put my penis in that.
I dress like I'm on safari.
That's always a fucking red flag.
Yeah.
Somebody shows up dressed like they're going on safari. You're like, what do you got going on?
What are you doing in Austin? You're like, you know, taking in all the
bears.
animals.
Looking for bears.
You think by now I would
You're
have seen
dressed
at least
as a
one.
beehive covered in honey.
I can picture that. Yeah. That's very upsetting. Like a box.
Yeah.
And there's like little shelves you can pull out.
One more shelf.
You're almost there, buddy.
Yeah, you're just mad because you're also attracting bees when you're just trying to have gay sex with a hairy man.
That's the price you pay, man.
Yeah.
That's how God set it up. So women have to have babies, and men have to work the fields, and gay dudes have to get stung by bees.
That's true.
That's
That
just
is
how it
true.
is. It's in the fucking Bible.
Well, that's Corinthians.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's in there somewhere.
I believe it's
Leviticus.
also in the book of Matthew. It is. Yeah.
Yeah, it's where they're detailing the lineage from King David to Jesus. It's right there in the middle. A lot of people miss it.
So I've been
A lot of bagats and such.
Yeah. There's some double talk.
with everything that happened with woke and PC in the last decade or whatever. I've been accused of being like this right wing guy, as I'm sure all of us have. And I feel
Is that because you are?
well. Here's the thing.
He starts his manifesto, right?
Yes,
I feel
I typed this for everyone.
like
Off to make nail bombs.
I'm moving to the woods.
definitely that can't be running away from anything. So we're gonna it is kind of fucked when you do read Kaczynski. You're like, this motherfucker's spitting.
No, he's got a good
This
point.
guy's saying some interesting things.
Yeah, he just
Osama
couldn't-
bin Laden.
Just as far as
When
bomb
Osama
making.
bin Laden wrote that.
Yeah, well, I like your motivation, but your methodology could use a bit of polish.
Exactly, yeah.
Is what you really got to work
Like,
on.
I understand you think the internet will take over the world. Also, you don't have to blow off a mailman's hand because you don't know how to work a timer.
It seems like a non sequitur, to be
Yeah.
honest. Like, at least get good at it. You stupid bitch.
Try it out a couple times.
You're fucking MIT, or no, Harvard and Michigan University for your
Yeah.
master's and PhD in math.
Yeah.
That's the best place
You only
to go.
know that from Good Will Hunting.
I don't want to talk about that movie.
Were you in
You
it?
hate Good Will Hunting.
I hate Good Will.
Why do you hate that movie?
I've already been through this too much. His name is Will Hunting. And the movie is called Good Will Hunting, about him becoming good.
So it's a little on the nose. is what you're saying.
It's the most forced title in the history of film. Good Will Hunting. And they want you to not recognize it. Like it's subtle. It's not subtle. It's the stupidest title I've ever heard in my life. Then they go to Harvard and beat up smart kids. Okay, and also, none of them know he's smart until they've known him their whole life.
Yeah.
But a guy with a ponytail starts quoting Vicus, and that's when he's going to let everybody know, like,
Vicus.
yeah, this is where I'm going to shine right now at a pool table in a bar. Even though I've never let any of you guys know that I have brain cells. Right now, I'm going to now quote Vicus. Like, you think you're smart because you quote Vicus?
Have you ever seen the sequel in what was it? Was it Mallrats? What
No, it
was
was Jay and Silent Bob.
Jay and Silent-
Oh, Strike Back.
Strike Back.
Yeah.
That was funny.
Yeah, I actually did read Vickers.
No.
Oh no, Will.
I like Robin Williams. I'm not saying it's poorly acted. It's just I hate it.
Okay. Yeah, you're allowed
Have you ever
to.
seen Father of the Year?
Probably.
Very little known Robin Williams movie.
Oh, I love it. It's by Bobcat Goldthwait.
Is it?
He's the one who
Is he
directed
the one that
it.
wrote
He's
that?
the one that
It's-
directed
it's
it.
really good.
It's phenomenal.
It's like, have you ever seen it?
I have not. No.
So Robin Williams is like a fucking high school English teacher or
Yeah.
some shit, and his kid is just an absolute dipshit.
Yeah.
I think he's a sophomore. He's like 10th grade or something like that. He's just a fucking retard, right? And then kills himself in a way that David Carradine might have, right?
Yeah.
And then
Autoerotic asphyxiation.
yeah, and then Robin Williams tries to play the whole thing off like he was some tortured poet and killed himself as a result of that. And starts writing back because he was like a failed author, Robin Williams was. So he starts putting his own writing out as the Sons.
And it's called What Dreams May Come.
Yeah.
No, it's brilliant.
It's
like
really
it shows
funny.
how all these students who didn't like him now all of a sudden they were his best friend.
Yeah. But
Like,
his
they
real
all make
best
it
friend
about
was like,
themselves.
he didn't write, he's a fucking idiot.
That's what I love.
I
He
love
goes-
the guy, but he's fucking retarded.
Yeah, it was like, look, your son was a piece of shit. He was my friend, but there's no way he wrote any of
Yeah.
this.
Oh wow.
So yeah, it's a brilliant
It's
movie.
really good, yeah.
I think it's hard for me to take Bobcat seriously.
Well, he
but
did
he makes
that.
some
He's a-
incredible stuff.
Oh no, he's a great director.
He did that,
But it's just hard.
yeah, he did that one,
Wow.
like revenge fantasy movie too.
Yeah,
What
that
it
was
called?
great. With
The guy that played Duck in,
it's Bill Murray's brother. It's
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm blanking on it. Joel Murray.
Joel, yeah. Yeah, what's the name of that fucking movie?
Trying to think of it. It's really good though when he just goes on the revenge spree to
It's
kill.
kind of like a parody version of what's the one with Michael Douglas where he just loses his
It's
shit,
it
kills
is
everybody.
Falling Down.
Falling Down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's kind of like a parody of that.
It's a lot like Falling Down, but he kills reality stars.
yeah.
Falling Down never made any sense to me as a kid, and now I don't know if any movie makes more sense to me as an
I think
adult.
that's how it's supposed to work. I also think
Have you,
a lot
have
of
you seen Falling Down? So Falling Down is a guy that the entire movie is Michael Douglas just spiraling out of control. You know, he's lost his job, he's going through a divorce, and then it's just, you know, little paper cuts about society that bother you, but
it's,
now
it's kind of like the precursor to everything Chuck Palahniuk wrote, which is like white maleness is under attack, and people gave Chuck Palahniuk a lot of shit for
Tons
this
of it.
in the '90s,
Yeah,
right?
they
He's like,
called him a Nazi.
oh, you're fucking complaining about this and that. It's like, well, I
Especially
mean,
as
we are.
was it Sex, Drugs, and Cocoa Puffs? I think was really controversial.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, there has been a little bit of concerted effort. It wasn't as obvious to everybody in the '90s as it is now, right? Now, I think most reasonable people are like, yeah, maybe we took that a little too far.
Yeah.
But Falling Down was '89, right, or something like that.
89, 90, right in there.
Somewhere
It was
in
right
there.
at the cusp.
Yeah.
But this is the thing about the attack on what they call it, white masculinity in America. Like being afraid to even talk about that is the end game of what they wanted. It comes. I believe that there is significant evidence to substantiate this. Let me couch it by saying it is my belief that it is coming from our external enemies. This is something that is a propaganda tool used by China and Russia. And they do not want, and it was a black, I'm trying to remember, it was a black colonel,
Colonel Sanders.
Yep.
not him. But he was the one that he did this whole YouTube, maybe it wasn't Alan West, I'm trying to remember who this guy was, but he was basically like, white guys, fucking man up. Or they're trying to rip you apart because you guys build shit, you guys put shit together, you're the majority of our population. If they can make you docile and self-loathing, we don't fucking stand a chance, all right? So get your shit together and understand that this is a coordinated attack on your ancestry and your masculinity. And I am of the opinion, and or you guys know, but I think that the combination of self-loathing, white guilt, narcissism, call it white guilt, and socialism together, it's more destructive than fucking plutonium.
But the the masculine character in Falling Down is Robert Duvall. It's not Michael Douglas.
Correct.
Yeah.
So it's the guy who's put up with it, dealt with it, and actually lives a life and realizes that a lot of stuff is just the way that it is, and you have to keep going. Like, he's way stronger than the Michael Douglas character.
Yeah, 100%.
And the Michael Douglas character is likable, but it's because he doesn't actually kill anybody when you think about it. So it's like he's kind of just going on this revenge spree.
Did he kill the Nazi guy?
I think he kills one person, but he, like in the fast food place, he doesn't. On the golf course, the guy has a heart attack, but he doesn't actually like shoot him or anything. The guy just has it, you know. So there's all these scenes that kind of make it where he's still watchable. But yeah, the point of that is just sort of all this stuff is coming at you all the time, and you're being inundated with news and information, which is terrifying because this is pre-internet, and it's going to make you go absolutely insane.
Does it appear to you, you know, as somebody who's clearly not a white male, has there been any sort of...
I'm a white male.
Correct.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
No, I know.
Is any of this apparent to you? Does this hit your ears like it's whining? Like, what does this sound like to you when you hear this?
No, I don't think it's whining. And I think that I've kind of delved deep into a lot of it because I have 2 boys, right? And they're white.
White passing.
White passing. I mean, at what point, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
those are 2 honkies. You're raising 2 little crackers.
And my youngest, his eyes they're definitely Asian. But I don't know. It's like there's this quote with men. It's in regards to men. So it's between the king and the fool is how you how you speak to him, right? And that's the man that's going to show up. And I think that there's certainly proof or some proof to that, or like there is some truth to that.
Between the king and the fool.
Yeah, so it's like how you treat a man is how he's going to show up. So if you're constantly treating him like he is not capable or that he's an idiot or that, right, like whatever it is, that's how he's going to show up. But if you treat him to his potential, that he'll show up. I think that there's some truth to that. I don't know. It's like at what point though you should be, and I don't encourage it, but like you should be able to show up really shitty and he should still be himself. I think that's the job of
it's
a
leadership,
man.
right? To some degree, but when it happens in mass, and what the process that you were describing earlier is called manufacturing consent. And it's this theory that Noam Chomsky and his co-author, they wrote a book called Manufacturing Consent back in the 80s about exactly this. And the end state is to have people self-censor, right? Like you make the social consequences so high for somebody to say something outside of the preferred narrative that people will choose not to say it anymore. We saw it over the last 10 years. I mean, it happened and right in front of our fucking faces. And very few people stood up and said anything about it. Most people just put their hands in their pockets, aw shucks, put their head down and walked away from the situation, right? So it's very effective. Even in a society like ours where half the country is like, fuck you.
There's actually a German word for it. There's one word in German. I'm trying to remember, but it's essentially a preamble of genocide. It's the
there's a
conditions
sorting process, yeah.
Yeah, it's the condition that you get people into being A, comfortable with othering, B, actually othering, and then when you do something atrocious then to the others, they're like, well, of course they deserved it. It happened. There's a process that the Germans actually have a name for, I guess.
Or you've dismantled a society with the economy and drugs.
Yeah.
That's how that
Which
happens.
is what it's happened here.
Weimar.
But yeah, it's like if you map that onto the broader population, you know, there is herd immunity to everything. It isn't just about physical disease. There's herd immunity to bad ideas. That's why sunlight's always the best disinfectant. Better ideas out into the public sphere, which is why censorship is so bad, you know, in mass, not just to the individual. Good ideas will generally trump bad ideas if the circulation is correct. But this has historically been true. I'm not sure if it's as true today, but being a dude can be difficult. You've got to go do actual labor. When there's a war, you're the one that goes to fight it and stuff like that. And it's a high price to pay. And, you know, what we want, you alluded to it earlier, is appreciation for that. That's it. That's really all you have to do is pat a dude on the head and say good job every now and again, and they'll fucking do stupid shit for you.
It's true.
And when you take that away, to your point, that's what she's talking about. That and this is the practical application of what she just described. If you stop telling people that men, especially, that they've done a good job when they've gone, even if it didn't work well, right? Like, hey, thank you. I know it didn't work this time, but I appreciate the effort. If you stop doing that, they'll stop trying.
Well, there's a weird ego thing with a lot of women too, because they're like, why am I going to acknowledge, appreciate, or say thank you for the bare minimum? And it's like, you don't realize how many guys don't do the bare minimum.
Or why should I do it? Because any guy will do it for me also. That nothing is a bigger turn. Nothing will turn me completely off and check me completely out faster than this idea that anything I do is worthless because somebody else would do it too.
Well,
they're a swipe right away from just like I'm replaceable in any moment.
It's an overcorrection, though. I see a lot of women do it. It's an overcorrection from them being with shitty dudes, so then they go into what is actually a princess mode, and they say, and I know a lot of women like this, and like, I'm not going to do this because I have 10 guys that would buy me a black car and sort this. I've got 10 guys that would buy my flight. And it's like, that's also a really shitty place to be kind of dating from.
It makes you as a guy. It has a blowback effect on you. It has like, now I'm not going to do anything for any of you bitches.
This goes
Fuck
back
y'all.
to
You'll deserve less.
This is like the power versus force thing. So one perspective and this is what 99% of that archetype of a woman's going to do, is she's like, I have a whole bench of guys that'll do X, Y, and Z, right? So now you have to do it, right? That's force. And a place from power is, how can I show up in such a way that he wants to do these things without me even asking? And they're two different things. And you can both get you the desired outcome.
Yeah, but
right?
there's also a blowback from both, right? And the blowback from what I would call the more noble path, which is to show up with good intentions, the blowback from that is usually, at least at some point over time, you'll meet somebody that'll meet your intention. You'll find somebody that's like, you know what? Fuck yeah, dude. I like that energy, and they match it. With force, you're basically compelling somebody over and over again, which means as soon as you stop compelling them, they move on, or you move on, or you both stay there but lose interest or whatever, right? It never, and over the course of a long period of time, it will never work. It can't work, right?
Yeah, that's the shit. Like everything can't be a fucking test at all times, always. Everything is not like a yes, no, A, B. You're moving up a notch, moving down a notch. You know, like at some point.
Yeah, you're not married.
Like, that's crazy though. Who wants? Like, how do you live your life?
Well, life's
like
not
that?
transactional. Well, always, right? Like, but neither is like.
See, I've always said love is completely transactional. And
you grew up in Detroit, so maybe
I don't know. I have a much bleaker outcome.
Yeah, I tried to buy pussy for cheeseburgers.
I just want to please mother.
But you were a professional baseball player, right?
Yeah. So you got laid.
No, that's not the point of that. But yeah,
Once or twice.
probably a couple times.
Good for you.
Half of them were. Some of them was even. They were even aware it was happening.
Sorry.
There is. You don't like. If you obsess over every single failure, right? Like if there's not a constant reward mechanism in baseball, you're fucked. If that's the way you go at it, right? Like certainly the best ever, they never take a pitch off, right? So locked in, yes, but you have to accept that a 70% failure rate is a Hall of Fame rate. Right,
was the hardest part for me to deal with.
It's difficult for everybody. That's why I think most people, even at a young age, don't fulfill. I think baseball are like mentally is the most difficult sport to play for that reason, right? Because it's mostly failure, especially as a hitter. So you map that onto your life. You're gonna in your first, like, let's say.
Well, and as a hitter, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you, but but like as a hitter, the strikeout feels the same. Like it stays with you like the home run.
Yeah,
way worse.
The loss stays with you. Yeah,
and I've never hit a home run, but the strikeouts did stay with me.
But it's similar. It's interesting you say that because I have a similar issue with comedy, where I can do 45 killer minutes, and there's one joke that I did that didn't land, and it's all I fucking stew on, or we're recording something. And I didn't tell the joke properly, and it's not going to be cut correctly, or I've cursed too much, and I was unaware. Like I have a tick that I say fucking a lot because of where I grew up, and it's not in anything I write anything. And then I go and look at the clip after, and I was like, did I really need to say fucking 4 times here?
Well,
like,
this is the dichotomy of life, though, right? It's push pull in everything you do, everything, from the physical to the metaphysical world. When you're lifting weights, if you don't do both, you're going to be weak in one side. Like you're going to have, if you do push only, you're going to have back problems. Everybody knows that, right? That's just intellectually true. The push pull in the metaphysical part of your life, or I guess in the social part, is you're dealing with, and I don't want to trivialize this or be reductive, like Swayze's character in fucking Donnie Darko, where everything's either love or fear, man. That's not true, but it is true motivation-wise. That is true, right? So you have to run from what you fear and chase what you love. That's typically
sounds
accurate,
dangerously
right?
close to cardio.
To what?
Dangerously close to cardio, bud.
No, not literally run.
Oh.
So put the stuff, and this is something that I have to talk to soldiers about a lot, especially guys who are out now who haven't been able to contextualize this stuff. You have to understand what it is you fear. It's important to understand what it is you fear because that's the thing you're trying to avoid, and you have to not insulate yourself from the risk, but insulate yourself insofar as you're more resilient against that risk, right? So my fear is not death. I've been in too many close situations to even consider that at this point. But letting down my family, letting down my men, that is unacceptable to me. I will not let that happen.
Things you can control.
Right. So I put that behind me. And when I'm in even today, I'm not in the fucking army anymore. I goddamn talk about buttholes and politics for a living, for Christ's sake. But I'm doing I'm riding a Peloton in my fucking garage in my very expensive home. And I'm playing war footage next to me, thinking about, I'm not going to let that dude down. And that's what motivates me. But then, you can't just do that because then you're always running. You never enjoy anything, right? That's what you're talking about. You never actually sit around and appreciate everything. And everything does seem transactional. If I don't do this today, then I'm fucked. Yeah. Right? You can't think like that.
It's
so
hard to
what's in front of you that you love, right? You know what I mean? So what are the things that actually, we talked about a little bit last night, what actually brings you joy? Making your family happy probably should, right? Whether it's your immediate family or your married family or whatever it is. Stuff like that should bring you joy, being a good man, stuff like that, right? I think that brings you joy in a way that doesn't fade when the moment is over.
The hardest thing about comedy, Dave's been doing this for a long time, he can talk about it better than me, is there is no end to the objective. You like baseball, 9 innings, 27 outs. The game is over. I can check myself and I can I can evaluate. Where am I? Am I where I need to be? What can I do better? This game that we're in, it's just a constant fucking. It feels like, I don't know if it feels like this way to you. You've been so successful at it, but for me, a lot of times, man,
I feel it's an illusion.
I feel like it's the cat chasing the fucking laser pointer.
Sure.
It's like, well, what is success? Well, success is you're a headliner. Okay, I'm a headliner. Now what?
What do you think about
get your TV show? Get that. Yeah. What's the?
What do you think about the Jordan Peterson principle of just try to improve 1% every day? Or every week
Kaizen. I like that, but I also think
I have a suit of 2 colors.
You look like the fucking Riddler, Jordan. I know. Calm down with the suits, bud.
You were going to say something and we cut you off.
I forgot.
Okay.
No, I don't even remember. No.
No, I think so. When you're on that treadmill, or you're like the cat with the laser. That's
you guys
why.
Trying to tell me something?
No, well, you brought it up. So it
There's
was
a lot of cardio references going on over here.
It was that episode we did earlier with that NFL guy.
Drew Bledsoe.
Yes. Sorry, I'm so bad at sports.
We'll definitely not cut that.
Yeah. It's to take the moments to celebrate, right? Because if you don't, then you're constantly like, what am I doing next? So you have to create space from when you attain the thing that you've been working on before you start planning the next thing.
Yeah, and to do that,
you drink and do drugs for 10 years.
Well, maybe, right? If you make it pathological, so you have that part of doing what she's talking about is defining what little successes look like to you. Right. Yeah. That's why if you're heading nowhere, you will get nowhere.
The problem is you also don't recognize what success is a lot of the times when you're living in it. I mean, when you're looking at something military, it's weird to even compare the two. The fact that you're leading people out and people are alive is this amazing thing. Like to even put comedy to it it's a bizarre comparison to me, because it's like that's.
Well, I've done both, so it makes sense to me. And I don't mean to I'm not projecting on to anybody that you should fucking live to any kind of weird standard like that. That's not real.
No, and I mean I think it takes a special breed, but it's like part of it is not having gratitude and not enjoying the ride, not getting to a point where you're comfortable, not letting yourself become. I drown on the negative all the time. That's just the way my brain works. I wish it didn't, but it is. That's just how it goes. And it's like I'm learning to now be grateful for the first time in my life. And this is after 15 years of sobriety.
What was it that switched it up for you? Because when I feel like I have an inclination towards something that isn't necessarily positive, I don't immediately dismiss it anymore. Because if you're sensitive to something, that's not intrinsically bad. Like maybe you're sensitive, like some people are more sensitive to cognition than they are emotion, and vice versa, right? It's not always male female, but that doesn't make you it's not good or bad. It's like how you use that thing, right? So if you're sensitive to the bad, that probably means you're going to be quite a bit more empathetic to the plight of others. So like you're a dad, right?
Yeah, and I'm
you
also massively sensitive.
Yeah, so you
It's a
but you
part
see,
of an
but you
issue
can
I
see you'll be able to see your male child go through some sensitivity issues during his puberty phase, which is coming up pretty soon.
Yep.
And that's a dangerous time for a young man because you could either use your masculinity to become useful or violent. And we see this a lot these days, more than ever before in human history.
You can also become useless. I did that.
Yeah, useless too. Well, that the
Less dangerous now that Diddy's in jail, but still dangerous.
But like you'll be able to see it in your kid now, and it's a superpower for you. Like some dads won't see that. They won't see that their kid's sliding off the fucking rails now. So it's not an intrinsically bad thing.
No, I think things that I had to go through that I know he doesn't, but he's also has a lot of things that I didn't when I was young. Like I was more of like the artist, and I liked to make movies and do that kind of stuff when I was a kid. My brother was the athlete. My son's competitive.
Plays baseball, right?
Oh yeah, travel baseball, plays football, all that stuff. He's really good, and he's competitive. He's smart. He does well in school because he wants to learn. I didn't have really any of that drive. I had a drive to create things that I wanted to create, and I did. Everything that I put my mind towards, I would do. But I never felt like I need to compete with you or compete with you. Right. I just had to do what I wanted to do. And it's like for me, the amount of times I've disappointed myself because I'm fighting like depression and stuff, that's gotten me into a place where I don't want to be. But like part of it is just to keep going. And like it sounds cheesy, but like sometimes the reward is just like, okay, I hate the idea of like, okay, I just survived today.
Sure.
But it's like, I think you need to get up and do something better for yourself. But like forgiving myself is the hardest thing in the world. I still can't do it. I'm struggling with it. Like, and I think to get to that point, to answer your question was, I don't know how many bottoms I had to hit until I realized what I had was already great. And then when you're sitting there with nothing, realizing that you fucked it up again, like it's the worst feeling in the world.
Yeah.
Depression's a monster, man. And I think one of the things as you live through it, fortunate truth of it is like it's gotta beat you a few times before you start to recognize what it is. And like now you can start to, you're talking about sensitivities and like triggered or whatever. Like you're like, oh, here comes the sadsies, and you can now after a while you can kind of like, all right, man, I gotta get out of this.
I think people make
here.
the mistake of trying to avoid it. I don't think that's a good look. Avoidance hardly ever works in any realm, but I think we've got to get a lot more comfortable sitting in our uncomfortability a little bit.
Yeah.
Just the and this is what the whole psychedelic thing is about. It fucking breaks you down so much that you have to sit in it. You can't. What the fuck am I going to do now? Prostrate on the ground and the room spinning. You know
and you
I mean?
can also break it down in a way that you weren't able to before. To analyze it.
Yeah. Now I can see like instead of a blur, like because it comes whatever emotion it is, it comes in waves, and you find yourself. Sometimes even physically moved to a new spot and you don't even know what the fuck happened, right? So the point of that is, this as a baseball player, especially as a hitter, if your mechanics get fucked up, you don't go out and take fucking home run cuts to fix it. You go back into the cage process, and you hit off the tee. You break it down into little parts, right? So if you're able to slow all that shit down and see this happens and this happens and this happens. This is what we are. The brain is a very advanced fucking machine that determines between threats and benefits, right? And if you let it go too fast without understanding how it works, you're going to miss some of the key parts. But you can see danger. Like that instinct that you have, that's your fucking caveman brain from 25,000 years ago saying whatever that pattern of movement, smell, sound, sight is, it's fucking wrong.
That's one of the things about Candice that I like so much. I mean, your intuition, you're in tune to these things, you're in tune to the energies and stuff. Like is this something that is this pattern recognition when you see things or you say things about, like I call her a witch, I call her Bruja because she's, clairvoyant, she sees the future half the time, right? And is that something that you've always had?
Well, somebody used to tell a joke about how their birth certificate had an expiration date on it.
Yeah.
That's one of my, I can't remember who it was anyways.
So is that something you feel like you've always had, or is that something that you've become more in tune to as you've gotten older?
No, I think women are more advanced with that in general. And I think slowing down is a big part of it too, right? So if women, you get too much into your masculine, then that's very fast and it's goal oriented, and then you lose that. But it's when you slow down and you're okay with silence is when you can kind of just pick up. It sounds so woo, but you're like, oh, the vibes are off, but there is something to energy. And I think that women, if you are in a place where you are open, then you can kind of receive that like an antenna. So that's why like a lot of men, we were talking about it on one of the episodes too, which is the importance of like what woman a man picks for his partner. A lot of the more successful ones, before they do any deals, will be like, well, what do you think of this person? Or what do you think of this deal? And she's like, I don't know, it's just off. Or I don't know, he's just off, right? And they'll listen because there's just something that they can pick up. And there's not a lot of evidence. I know that with the CIA specifically, like they have a lot of women and they train intuition-based training. I don't know the details of it, but that Ivy, what's her last name? Paris? Is that her? What is
Something
it?
like that,
Yeah.
yeah.
She talks a lot about it specifically. And I think part of it is there's this fiber in the brain, it's the corpus callosum, and women have more connections there. So they think that they're just able to kind of pick up on things faster because the information passes from left brain to right brain faster.
I don't know if you saw...
People ask about like women in the military and combat jobs. No.
You mean
100%
dead ones in the field, right?
Like dragging my big dumb body out of a fucking ditch because I got shot. It ain't happening, dude. I'm sorry, it ain't happening. I can barely do it with guys my size because you've got another fucking 80 pounds of gear on. But the best intelligence operators I know are women, all of them, literally all of them.
Yeah.
Like every fucking analyst in the agency and the NSA and elsewhere, other places that I know, they're women.
Every single time a girl has accused me of cheating, she was fucking right. She nailed it 100% of the time. I was able to talk my way out of it a lot of the times, but they were spot on.
Well, this isn't.
I think a lot of times that's just believing manipulation.
That's cognitive dissonance for sure.
Yeah, that's just denial.
But this isn't a new principle. Even forget about the intuition part, but even in some deeper connection to whatever world out there you think there is spiritual wise. You know the story of Pontius Pilate, right? Like the guy who ordered Jesus to be crucified. His wife had a dream the night before and was like, don't do this. This is a mistake. And that's in the Bible. It's like they're talking about paganism in the Bible and how effective it is.
Well, yeah. I mean, the Bible is just a treaty between the East and the West.
But forget about all that, because it's two separate religious texts, right?
Yeah.
And a chain of religious texts that recognizes the authority of a religion that it's meant to replace.
Yes, but
that is a profound thing that's happening there.
Yes, but we all have to view it through the lens of the Bible as we know it is a commissioned text by the Romans. That make
degree.
the Romans not the bad guy.
I mean,
the killing of the Messiah.
we found certainly with the New Testament that's true. There's no question about that. The historical record just isn't good enough for us to know for sure. So the presumption is that, but the Old Testament is probably pretty accurate.
Pontius Pilate, though, we know was the Romans' nutcracker.
Yes,
when there
we
was
know
a
that,
providence
yes.
that wasn't coming to heal, they sent him there, and they were like, "Okay, you guys don't want to join the old empire willingly, huh?"
Yeah, and they kind of
you'll get there.
I think the accepted story.
Have you heard of crucifixion?
Yeah,
I think you're gonna love this one.
I think the accepted story is that Herod bribed Pilate at all. Like it would have been, I don't know if that was the first the second triumvirate just yet. I think it was the second triumvirate they bribed.
It's actually, there's some theories that's one of the wedges that was in the second triumvirate is that Herod's bribery went to Mark Anthony.
I can grab the Bible out of my car and we can figure it out.
Do you have one in your car?
Of course.
It's the pop-up
Right next to the
version.
Narcan.
Yeah, I can.
So when you did that's interesting because you did the recovery, but you did recovery without becoming a born again. That's
I never felt unborn.
You didn't want to be born again. You didn't.
I didn't. No, I didn't. You mean I didn't all of a sudden get baptized and make it my entire persona? Speaking of bears, a bear didn't baptize me in a river.
Yeah, you didn't go all Shawn Michaels and say, sorry for the last 50 years, but I'm good now. So
I believe in God, but I also believe that challenging God is something you should do. And asking questions, and I believe in free will, and I think that's why there's a lot of bad things in the world.
Challenging God or challenging religion?
Challenging religion is already there. I mean, there's no reason you shouldn't challenge any religion. I really, I guess you could say I would identify as Catholic because that's what I was raised. But every single religion I think is flawed because it's a man-made version of something. But I like when I pray and stuff. Like I think you have the right to be angry. I think you have the right to say the things that you feel. I think the idea of just accepting everything for the way it is kind of shitty. And I think if you go through life just going like I believe all of this stuff lockstep. I don't know if that's true faith or just true ignorance.
Well, Paul said, "Study all things and hold fast to what's true."
Exactly.
Right. I don't think there's any real admonition in the Bible to just follow things blindly.
No, there's not.
Like, certainly don't tempt fate. You don't have to be a cunt about it, right?
Right.
But at no point does it say fucking either this or I'll punch you in the face, right? Like,
right.
It's like
We did say
the First Testament,
Lord
though.
God,
There's a
there
bit
are no
of
other
that.
gods but me.
Well,
Yeah, that's right.
the Old Testament does, though.
Yeah.
The old, and that's a lot of worship.
The Old Testament's rough. There's this prophet named Elisha, not Elijah, but Elisha, and he was bald.
Yeah.
And sensitive about it, apparently, because some children were mocking him one day, and he called some female bears out of the woods to maul them to death. Now,
Gross.
I don't understand how you can square that with, like,
Were they homeless? And does that make it okay?
I don't know if they were white. That's what you should be asking. But
Polar
anyways,
bears, huh?
no, I
Look
mean
up
not the
polar
bears,
bears.
the kids.
Oh, it wants to know whether it needs to care about the kids or not.
I see. Okay. I just want to make sure nobody got hurt if they were a polar bear.
Oh yeah, fair enough. Yeah, the Coca-Cola bears. Remember those?
Or the pandas, the mulatto of the community. Anyway.
Are we seeing mulatto? Are we bringing that back? I'm down. I'll help. You just gotta let me know.
I'm just saying, we don't need that mix all the time, right, bears?
Would you want or would you let your son serve?
Yes.
Because your father was a veteran,
Correct.
but
And the government killed him.
well, that's yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I mean,
I'm sorry. Back up. What happened?
Agent Orange, and they gave him absolutely nothing.
Yeah, that happened a lot.
Which then he paid out of pocket, lost everything for brain surgery, leading to my mom's suicide. So it was like I had a lot of. I guess that's what I mean. Like I have a lot of questions about faith. Where when I talk to God, I'd rather be honest than try to be like, okay, is this pleasing you yet?
Yeah.
Because part of me is like, hey, you want to throw me a bone here?
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not saying woe is me. My life is 1,000 times better than probably most of the world. You know, and I'm aware of that now. But through my life, you know, you don't always feel that way.
Yeah.
But the way that I would let my son serve if that's what he wanted to do, if that's something that, because I believe in America. I really do believe in this country, and I really do admire the people that have fought for it, and that's not some cliche, like, I hope soldiers like me bullshit. Like, I do what I can, which is, I do fundraisers, I do everything that I can to my Uncle Joe, who is a Marine, he runs a place out of Atlanta, About Face USA, that I help with. Like, I believe that soldiers should be taken care of, and I think it's disgusting what we do to them. But it's like I also do believe in this country.
I almost think it's purposeful, though. I think our government doesn't want our soldiers healthy, coordinated. But that's a whole different topic.
That's very, very possible. But I also think that if my son believed in his country and wanted to do it for that reason, I'm also fine if he doesn't want to go. You know, I don't think it matters either way. But I mean, I do think there is nobility to it. And if it's for something you believe in, like actually what this country should be, I think it's important.
There's a lot of ways to serve your country. None of them require carrying a rifle and some foreign fucking
listen.
land.
I mean, you have two sons. If your sons were to enlist, is that something you would support?
I mean, I'd support it, but I would be terrified.
Yeah, you wouldn't be. I mean, it's got to be rough. I mean, it had to be rough on or was your family kind of behind you?
We're not close.
Oh, okay.
But I've experienced that. Quite a few families, yeah. I mean, like, shit, 18, 19, 20-year-old wives with one or two young children.
That's crazy.
Watching their fucking husband go off to war again.
That's one of the wildest things as I'm getting to my age, man. It's like you see the guys in uniform walking through the airport, and you're like, that is a child, man.
Yeah.
My one
That's
friend's
their
husband
kids,
is on his 12th deployment, and she's got two 4-year-old twins, and he's home maybe a couple months a year.
Yeah.
And since they've been born.
That's tough.
I know. And like, I don't know. There's got to be a really big why to, for him to make that decision.
The why really fucking matters. It's like, it's difficult to do that stuff, and it's harsh for not just the soldier but the family as well, right? And one of the things that heals you is, and you can still see when you watch the interviews done for the Band of Brothers guys, right? It's these old men just breaking down, crying, thinking about their experiences, but their guilt is over losing their buddies or whatever. It's not over the stuff they did ever. Like these dudes fucked the Germans up and they didn't give a shit about it, right? The Japanese, they fucked them up. They didn't care about it. It was never about that. It was never the moral injury with them in that regard. It was the other thing. And this is a perfect encapsulation of what the transactional nature of masculinity is in a society. It's hard, and it's going to cost me my life, either now or I'm going to die young because of this. Soldiers don't live long, right? That's historically been the case. Now it's better, right? But historically, that's been the case.
It's still bad.
Now it's offset a lot by the suicide now too. But like,
which
I need
from
this,
a lot of places, I'm sure.
Yeah. I need this to be worth it. Right? Like Vietnam was not worth it. Iraq was not worth it. Afghanistan was not worth it. And Israel will not be worth it.
And we know
Iran
it
will not be worth it.
It's a very hard thing.
In Vietnam was about being dragged into it. Like my dad was in between colleges when his number got called, and it was like, well, guess I'm going.
Fucking A.
And it's like, the only lottery he ever won. And it's like, but I mean, it's why when I was young, I learned more about things in history. I knew more like what are conspiracy theories now that are popular, but my dad just knew these things. Like he wasn't crazy. He just researched all this stuff. My dad was a coach. He ran Little League. Like he did everything he could for his kids. He was a foster kid. He had his biological mom, but his dad left the day he was born. Like he became an opposite of like where he grew up in the hood. But like he worked for hard. I don't know. He just worked really hard for what he had. And it's like to have that be taken away later because you're dragged into a war that makes absolutely no sense is a terrible thing. And
you won't find dudes, and they're all mostly gone now, unfortunately. But it's just a matter of time. But from that served in the European and Pacific theater, who regretted having to go there. You would never hear that story.
Yeah.
You may from time to time, but it is rare. Now that is that's the majority, not even the plurality story. That's the majority story now, and that fucks you up worse than anything else because you've taken my honor, right, and you've used it to purchase nothing. Yeah, and that's something that most dudes can't come back from.
Taking some great men that were willing to give sacrifices that our government just doesn't deserve.
But again, it's a perfect encapsulation. This isn't just unique to being a soldier. It's a perfect encapsulation of the transactional nature between masculinity and society, because it's also hard to go work in the fucking fields all day. And right now it's going to be hard for some dudes that are in their 30s and 40s and maybe even 50s to say the next frontier isn't some new weapon or something. It's AI. I've got to go learn how to fucking do this stuff. Yeah. Otherwise, I'm going to be replaced by some Indian dudes. And look, we have, like, this is the Manhattan Project right now. We have to win the AI race or America will not exist in 50 years. And that's not hyperbole. I'm fucking serious about that. And we're not graduating enough people to do it, right? No. We should be spending all this money that they're spending on this H-1B shit. We should be spending on training Americans to do that job, right? And not just, and it's a balance too, right? Like we have to determine how far behind we are, and we are behind. How many people we can graduate from these and get them up to speed on specifically AI, like grunt work coding, spending fucking 8 to 12 hours a day in a fucking cubicle typing. Right? It's going to create a whole new condition on your body that didn't exist before. It's not about working the field. Your knuckles aren't going to get busted as a mechanic anymore, but it's going to fuck your brain up. It's going to fuck your arms up, right? It's going to make you a fat dummy if you can't get into the gym and stuff.
The problem is, though, this is all secondary stuff. First is motivation. You can't, we haven't hit our military recruitment in 6 years, I think.
Well, but think about how many people come in from a different country and especially what he's talking about. Now you're taking away people that are actually going to care about the value of the United States to go in. Like if you look back, like World War II, like you were saying, like Jimmy Stewart in It's a Wonderful Life, he was an actual shell-shocked soldier when he went to do that movie who wanted to kill himself. You know, like because he had just come back from World War II when he filmed it. Like that's the guy. That's basically his story, and it
Same
plays
thing
so
with Audie
well for
Murphy. He
that.
played himself.
Audie Murphy, absolutely. So it's like you had movie stars went to fight because they believed in what they had. We don't have that anymore as a society.
Yeah, this is what I'm getting at. Though. There's no motivation. What you're saying is do the hard things because they need to get done, and we don't have the buy-in. We don't have the belief that I'm going to make this sacrifice.
Yeah, I
because
mean,
you've wasted the fucking sacrifice of how many generations?
Sure, yeah.
I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to fucking. That's the part that we have to address in the immediacy. We have to create an environment of buy-in, like you said, of the American dream again, because my generation, the generation beneath me for sure, doesn't fucking believe it. We don't believe in it because we're not suckers. Yeah. Because we've seen the lies and we've seen the propaganda and we've been lied to. And unless our government desperately does a 180 and tries to get our trust and love back, nobody's going to make the sacrifices. What you're saying is 100% right. But the motivation is not going to be there. I think if you guys are going to smoke pot, they're going to watch fucking porn, they're going to play fucking video games, and they're going to die. And they're not going to give a shit.
Well, I think if you wait around for the government to start doing things the correct way, then this country will end.
Yeah, because they're never going to, and it's not like you have politicians that are necessarily rushing out to serve. Some have, obviously,
some have,
but for the most part, it's designed so someone else does the real dirty work and they make the money.
And that's always been the case, and maybe that's not the worst thing ever, right? Because I don't want those people fucking near me.
Then the system has to collapse. If the system is not going to update so your kids are learning AI and coding, because then they'd have to retrain teachers that have to then be union, that then have to have 80-year pensions that are coming in, and we can't make any of these changes, and when we're locked in this bureaucracy because some politician wants to buy votes, well, then we're going to lose.
Well, they're saying that 95% of jobs are going to be gone, and then everyone's going to be on UBI. There is no other option.
I don't agree with that. I think that we can't conceive of a future economy.
What are you going to do? Run a Blockbuster? I think she's right. I'm just kidding.
We can't conceive. There's no way in somebody. But we're going into another industrial revolution. The AI is the fourth industrial revolution.
Yes.
Right. So if we think of it from
except Henry Ford's not letting kids build cars, and then if they lose a finger firing them.
We don't know what's going on.
Well, I mean, we know in China they are.
Yeah.
They're still on the Ford train of the first industrial revolution.
Ford looks at the nets hanging outside of the skyscraper and goes, rats! Why did we think of that?
Yeah, if the kid falls in the hot dog makers like back in the day.
Well, that's the thing. Apparently, that was complete bullshit up in Sinclair.
Yeah.
Apparently nonsense. Apparently
never happened.
Apparently,
it happened a little.
Who knows?
We didn't care about people. Well, we did, but not.
This has happened before though in the Roman Empire, right? Like,
history repeats itself.
And
we
it
learned
will
nothing.
always, right? This will go away, just like everything else did.
Sure.
And it'll just take time, and maybe it comes in slightly different forms. But the Romans got particularly comfortable. They got so large that it was unmanageable, so they split the empire, sometimes into fourths, right? But mostly bifurcated it into the east and the west.
Diocletian?
Constantinople and Rome. And
Ravenna, actually.
the people that were still in Rome were what the modern American is, unmotivated. It doesn't matter why. It doesn't matter that it was after years of fuck faces like Nero, right? Doing crazy shit and eating babies or whatever the fuck he was doing on that little island. It didn't matter why it was. There's G.K. Chesterton is an English author, and he talked about the greatness of Rome, and he says that
Rome wasn't great
because men didn't love Rome because she was great. Rome was great because the men had loved her, right? So it's not about the goddamn government or the politicians. It is about the average American deciding that the idea of America is stronger than any of this. The idea that personal entrepreneurship and individual liberty is the ultimate inoculation to tyrannical bullshit, right? And that if you and I do business together, those cunts over there can't stop me, right? That's why we wrote that second one in there, that if you don't reclaim that belief as an individual and then spread that into your community, then it doesn't matter. There will be no system that can fix this ever. No systemic change can fix this without the individual. That's how the system of government was built, right?
Well, that's why the other governments want to poison the ideology.
Oh yeah, I mean it's why they want to amplify groupthink, especially.
Absolutely.
If I like you guys might both be conservative and have differing opinions about what that word even means, right?
Yeah.
But if I tell you he's liberal and you're deeply conservative, either regardless of what the goddamn definition of that word is, now you don't like each other, and I control that, right? Because I control the fucking media.
Shaking the ants.
Yeah, more or less. That's essentially what it is. It's like, you got to fucking get out of that. And the only way to do it is to fucking walk up to somebody, look them in their eyes, and shake their hand and say, I don't fucking like anything you believe, but I'll fucking fight with you. Right?
Well, that's what it is. Yeah, it's what is the saying? You know, like I don't like what you have to say, but I'll die for your right to
the
say
death and right to say it. Yeah.
I think there's another way, and I think this is where comedy comes in. I think comedy beat woke. I don't think.
Well, I mean, it's always been subversive to authority. Sure.
Yeah. So I get the idea of being a stand-up guy, being a leader, leading by example. I love all that stuff, but we're in an information war. We're in a cold war. We're not in a hot war. We're not physically fighting with, people we disagree with in the street. One of the things that's a mind fuck everywhere we go is all we see on the internet and all we see in television is this constant culture battle that we're in. But when we walk the streets, we're perfectly fine to each other.
Yeah, Bill Hicks talked about this in Arizona Bay in 1991, I think is when that album came out.
Yeah.
He was like, people, it's like war, famine, death, AIDS, war, famine, death, AIDS, and you walk outside and it's just crickets. And you're like,
I hear the birds chirping. It seems kind of nice today.
Sounds like a nice day out. I'm just going to go stand in the sun for 20 minutes.
So our ability to lampoon what has happened in the culture over the last 10 years has changed the culture. You talked about it with Gen Alpha. Gen Alpha identifies with us. They don't identify with woke comics.
No.
Woke is a joke.
No.
Like, there's nothing more cringy you can be than a woke Karen right now.
Well, and it's like, even taking all of that out of it, there was a point where like people thought Dennis Miller was essentially liberal.
Yeah.
But when he explained it, he's like, well, no, but that's who was in power was Republicans. So that's who I made fun of. I make fun of who's in power. Yeah. And that's what it came down to. So if you turned on Saturday Night Live or these other shows, what they were making fun of, Carson, whatever it was all across the board making fun of everything. There was this ability to kind of like at least get the other side or understand what was happening. Now it's become a sport. And everybody's got on their jersey, or at least the extreme sides are. And then you also have a lot of people faking it. They're faking it for money. Everybody wants to be an influencer now. So there's all these people who really don't know what they're doing or actually have any belief.
Like Hotep Jesus.
Like Hotep, I don't know who that is, but all right.
Cat Turd, that guy on Twitter. It's just inflammatory stuff. And he talks about it. It's like, yeah, I'm making a lot of money on Twitter. I'm like, cool, man. Do you love America? How do you feel about that country that you live in? Fuckface. It's certainly there are.
I don't like anybody that hides.
No, I mean, and certainly there are. For every one on the right, there's one on the left.
Yeah,
there's so much parity in this fucking contest of shitbags that just want to fucking tear other people down. Right? There's two ways you can succeed. You can succeed independent of anybody else's work product, right? Or you can fucking go stand on top of their work product and push it down. And make your there's two ways to climb.
It.
No. Well,
you don't like something, just
but there's two ways to get to this level, right? One is to fucking pull yourself up. The other one's to pull the other guy down to your level. Now you're on the same level. That's what people do, right? It's a tale as old as time. And the latter of that is the person you should be the most suspicious of because they will do fucking anything except for work to level that playing field. They'll do anything. They'll fucking call hey, I think this dude's not wearing his COVID mask. They're having a party right now. Those people that were ratting people out during all this shit, I don't think it was just liberals doing that.
No, it wasn't. And it was people doing it to their own families.
Yep.
I mean, yeah, we have turned into a society. I don't even know if we've turned into it. I think a lot of our society has been that. I mean, it's
snitching.
Not like... Yeah.
I think,
It's like the goddamn Stanford
got
doing
ran out of
anything to save yourself or to look better
or to position yourself. It makes social sense to position yourself in a way that is acceptable to other people.
Well,
this makes sense.
Yes.
But if you're this is used car salesman patter nonsense, right? If you know that you're a shit product, or you're just, maybe you aren't, but you're insecure about it, then the only way to do that is to juxtapose yourself against somebody else. And the only way to do that is to fucking degrade their character.
And they try to do it with slightly bigger people because they know other people are upset that person's successful.
Sure. Yeah.
And then all those people get together, and it's like to me, you just come off like such
A cunt.
Yeah, well, you're just a failure because you're not actually doing anything.
Yeah.
You're just making something worse, and you're trying to tell people that what they're doing is important when what they do.
It's Perez Hilton.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
A talentless fucking retard.
Yeah.
Who's just like, oh, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna shine a light into the worst day of some people's lives to make myself popular, and that is the worst person in the world.
That's
that way.
even some of the worst people. Like, okay, if you're Diddy and a human trafficker or whatever, but it's like there's people that it's like once like the idea of kicking them when they're down is absurd, and especially if they were at one time liked, it's like even the guy from the Cosby Show was bagging groceries at Trader Joe's, and they're like, look at this loser. It's like, why? Because he's making a living and still trying to be an actor.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
I think the problem is in our country, a lot of it is empathy, and a lot of it is you want status, and I think that being better than everybody, it doesn't exist. Nobody looks at somebody in this like crazy admiration. I mean, maybe Taylor Swift, but there's a few, but it's like this idea that you have status over people. At the end of the day, people are going to care about their family and their friends and the people that genuinely like them and love them. Like, that's the truth. So this idea of all these people wanting to be famous and the status symbol, it's all kind of this bullshit facade, and everybody just wants to be it now.
It's a replacement of the caste system. So we shed the caste system for life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, right?
Yes.
And everybody starts the same. Now, obviously, that wasn't true until we amended a few things, but it became true, certainly. In the 90s at some point, it was probably as true as it's ever been. And we decided, you know what? That's not good enough for me. For whatever reason, maybe that's just the default mode for human beings. Maybe we're not, as Ben Franklin said, we have a republic if you can keep it, right? That was a famous quote of his. It's like, maybe this is our default state. Maybe this is so we go through, men have a cycle as well, right? It's not the same as women's, but we go through stuff.
Gay.
24 hours.
Yeah, it's a 24-hour period, right? Not period literally, but a period of time. And we go through the same type of, let's not call it emotional roller coaster because that's reductive, but
I'm
something
in my
like that,
luteal
right?
phase right now.
Yeah, I can tell.
Is that why I wake up sometimes happy and go to bed wanting to kill myself? And then it's the reverse?
Yeah, but we both have these trajectories, and it doesn't look the same because one looks like this and the other one looks like this, and it's really quick throughout one 24-hour time span. That's got like, it doesn't mean that they're not the same thing, right? And this maybe we're going through this period like this is a bump in our marriage to fucking governance. You know what I mean? Like, we're having a rough patch here, and we got to get things correct. And the way that you do that, invariably, whether it's a business deal or relationship or anything else, is fucking honesty, right? We had this really good thing. We took it to this point, and it started to break down. Let's figure out why. Let's figure out how to repair it, because maybe it's not perfect, but it's better than that shit.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, America's like, you're at the point in the marriage where it's like, we haven't gone to church in years, and I'm getting pegged while my wife is dressed like a rhinoceros. And it's like, maybe we should kind of tone it down a bit and maybe reevaluate.
We should probably at least see it. You know what I mean?
I think a good thing is that you can't fix anything until you admit there's a problem. And I
That's
think
the honesty
across
part,
the board, every American goes, all right, some of the shit's, we need some.
Well,
fixing."
here's the thing that we keep
yourself,
running
too.
into, though. We keep running into this. Just because you don't like somebody's solution to a problem doesn't mean it doesn't exist, right?
Ron
Doesn't
Paul
mean
has
it
one of
won't
the-
work either.
Ron
Yeah.
Paul has one of the best quotes of all time about that. He goes, the problem with socialists is that they're right about all of Americans' problems. They offer solutions that would make it worse, but they identify the problems correctly.
Yeah, so it doesn't help. Like, this is what...
Like our healthcare system is fucked.
Yeah, it is.
I could be a rabid capitalist, which I am, and say this healthcare system is garbage.
Yeah.
Well, because capitalism should stop in certain places, in my opinion. And especially when it's $30 for a syringe, that's a problem.
Yeah,
But the solution to that is not murdering the healthcare CEO.
No, that's stupid.
Of course not.
But that's
A
the
lot of
that's
them
the powder
celebrated
keg,
that,
right?
which I think is a slippery slope, because if you think you're mad at healthcare CEOs, wait till you find out how mad we are at lockdown politicians. And if we're going to start playing this game.
Well, and also, yeah, you have the right to be mad at certain people. I don't. That whole thing is weird, but it's also insurance. Unfortunately, a lot of people can't afford the best insurance. There should be something in place for that in this country for Americans that need health care. Yeah. And I mean Americans that need health care.
I would love to see an amendment made. And I know you're good friends with Dan Crenshaw, so maybe you can ask him about this. Yeah. I don't think we should spend $1 more on death than we do on life. Whatever our defense budget is, I think we should spend on healthcare and lifestyle improvements in America. Now, I'd like to see them whittled down significantly anyway. I'd like to see our budget be 10% of what it is. I'm not hopeful that Doge actually can do something. I don't know. We'll see. That might just be.
I got in early, so I'm good.
No. Yeah. I'm talking about the Department of Government Efficiency, but yeah.
I pulled out early.
That's not true.
So you're good too?
No. Anyway, go on.
So at the end of it, I'm sure that there was a point to what I was saying, but now I've blacked out.
We're not the only one on this couch that'll do gay porn for money.
That's nonsense. How dare you say that to Candice? Candice is a beautiful woman inside and out. There's video evidence.
I don't know why I made that. That wasn't at you. That was at me. Just so you know. All I'm saying is I'd blow a guy for $1 million right now.
Dude, when we were playing ball,
I made a lot of mistakes. There's nothing worse than getting rich and fucking it up. God damn. I could fuck up a grilled cheese, and I have. I do a whole story about it. Oh, anyway, sorry. That's me being trash, just so you know. You're a stunningly pretty actress. Me?
Gay trash.
Gay trash.
I think that's probably a good place to end it.
I wouldn't enjoy it. It's not like I would. I mean, maybe after a while, you do get used to it.
Dave, what's your Venmo so the people watching out there can help keep your butthole virgin?
At David-5. I will send you tasteful nudes, such as a shampoo bottle in my gaping anus.
Oh, wow. Well,
I just slip in the shower a lot.
Yeah,
and I take a picture of it.
And with that, make sure to watch him on the Blaze. It's called Normal World on Blaze TV.
I don't know why I went there.
Yeah, definitely normal. Well, I mean, look, Happy Gilmore 2 is coming out. That's kind of an Adam Sandler thing, the shampoo bottle. So
that's true.
Yeah,
I'm excited about it. I hope it's good.
Yeah, I mean, God, they better not fuck that up,
dude. Like I watch all those movies with my son. Are your kids at that age yet? Okay, like once they like. Oh, it's so much fun watching those movies.
It seemed profane at the time, but it's not that bad.
And nothing that you see from the 90s when you watch it now, or you realize you're like, this is
we're just numb.
Yeah,
well,
this
just
PG
this would just
be on TV.
Yeah, like you're. I'll show my son any R-rated movie pretty much from the 90s, minus a few.
Yeah, I'm hopeful because they had a bunch of PAs walk off set apparently because the movie was anti-woke. It wasn't woke. And
how are you gonna be a PA for Happy Madison and think that he's coming in woke?
Well, I don't know.
Like he's never done anything woke.
Yeah, I think a lot of these people.
They're all Republicans for fuck's sake. I know he doesn't talk about it and everything, but all those Happy Madison guys are all repubes.
Yeah.
Well,
they don't fucking do that.
Kevin James. I mean, it's very obvious, and also the fact that they don't talk about it means they're conservative.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I mean,
you can see it in the fucking negative space at this point.
Yeah,
if somebody's not constantly talking about Kamala Harris.
Yeah. Can you believe he won? No.
What happened?
Who would vote for that?
No, that's weird. Oh, Beverly Hills did? That's weird.
I think it's really important that you get out and vote. Yeah. That means Republican these days.
I'm not saying which way to do it.
Yeah.
Enough where I don't have to pay taxes.
Also, I'm still married and I love my kids, and they're still the gender that they were born in. So I don't.
Who
am I voting for?
That's a good sign when Will Smith shows up with his weird ass, like half penis to children. Dude, and then you have to deal with like the Adam Sandler's like, these are my kids, and maybe they should play separately while we film. Your kid's a creep.
I want to beat Willow. you're not allowed.
No. And he's like, trust me, you don't want to meet Willow.
No. Yeah.
This is my wife. She bangs all her friends.
Yeah, actually, if you're Adam Sandler's son, you'd more want to meet Jada, right?
I don't know.
I have a problem only you can fix. You need to heal me. Like you healed that other boy that was
Entanglement.
Yeah.
No.
I liked Will Smith. She's hurt him bad. Something bad, dude.
Bad.
And the fact that a lot of people don't blame her, that's just...
The humiliation thing where she made him sit there at the red desk while, like, dude, the whole time.
It was a struggle session.
That was
straight out of
nuts.
fucking mid
I keep rooting for him to
1900s
lose it. Like,
Russia. Like,
flip
what the
the
fuck?
table over. Come on, man.
Yeah. That's basically how you break a woman like a horse to go hook on the street. You don't do that to your husband who's a movie star. That's bananas.
Just looking at him
He
the whole
took
time
it.
going like, you're no Tupac.
He did take it.
He did. Well, yeah, allegedly that too.
I mean, it cracked his psyche. Yeah, he did. He got the guys who came in and said that he would just get railed.
There was murder in that room.
There was
That's what
murder
he
in that
said.
room.
That's why DJ Jazzy Jeff isn't as big as he should be for the talent he has. Because he was probably like, I'll just go spin some records, but you can enjoy
back
all
in
that.
the early '90s. That $500,000 he made, you could buy. He's probably good.
Oh no, yeah. I saw him perform last year. It was fun.
He's
I was
still
supposed to
alive.
do
That's
that
cool.
show a couple years ago, and then I went through like 3 vetting processes for it, and they wanted me to come on and just say how amazing porn was, and I was like, well, I can't do that. Like, I can definitely give you the angle that I think there's some positivity to it, but I also have to do this other half. And they're like, no, Jada really wants something like really empowering, so we can't really criticize the industry at all. So if you come on, I was like, well, that's not going to work.
We don't
So
want
yeah,
to-
so if
I want any truth
you
here.
could not be
You need to
honest
tell
in
me.
If you could just get a
yourself,
whole bunch of 18-year-olds to sign up for like casting couch, that would
Yeah.
really be making a difference.
we
Say,
don't-
that would be great. I would love to see those guys from Band of Brothers that fought the Nazis and show them that their granddaughter's selling her butthole on Instagram. I'd like to see that.
I mean, someone might be into it.
Yeah.
A lot of those dudes came back with foreign wives, my man.
That's true.
yeah, that's true.
A lot
They
of them
were
left
like,
babies over there too.
We went to France and they put it in their mouth. Did you hear?
America wasn't exactly.
Boy, howdy.
They weren't exactly the most sexually progressive country in the 1940s.
We are
America?
still very
Yeah.
puritanical
Yes.
compared to a lot of countries. Absolutely.
We didn't
Like
discover
what
butt
countries?
sex until the 80s, I think.
Like
What?
All of Europe?
All of Europe?
Yeah.
But like, how much?
So the
is
Netherlands,
not puritanical?
the
Like, we
Netherlands,
just aren't gay enough,
the
or-
Netherlands, for example, had something called morale brigades. Are you familiar with this?
I'm not.
Hookers.
Oh,
That's it.
The
I mean, look,
Netherlands
I don't like the euphemism.
do you get drafted into that?
I think it was. I don't remember exactly, but I'm pretty sure it was just all volunteers.
All volunteer
Yeah.
morale brigade.
Yeah.
See,
But
it's really
then-
patriotic.
it's good there's
I never said it
antibiotics
wasn't.
now, though.
That's honestly most
Yeah.
of my fan base.
Yeah.
Is what?
Military.
Military
dudes,
dudes.
Really? I thought it was like Saudi princes or something like that.
No, I would have retired a long time ago if that was the case.
Yeah, well, So what? Ask not what you can do for your country.
Right.
Ask what your country can do for you.
See, I'm all about contribution.
I'm here for it, man. Whatever helps guys get through the day.
I think
it,
so.
it is true. It's fun watching when I've been out with you, seeing guys that served come up to you like with their hat in their hand.
Well,
like
that-
I could have never gotten
That
through that
charity
deployment.
event we went to, and I
That
had
was
those
crazy.
SEALs coming up.
Well,
And
that's
they're
gotta
like,
be
thank you
nice.
for your service. I'm like, anytime.
It
Happy
was
to
my
do it.
pleasure. Yeah.
Will you sign my fleshlight?
That was a big thing, though. So
I just found
would
this out the
have-
other day on his show, so I don't
No,
know.
their wives would send them my fleshlight.
Okay.
Or their wives would send me the fleshlight to autograph. And like, I want to send this to my husband. He's deployed right now.
I mean,
Nice
that
wife.
autograph
lot.
seems unnecessary because that's definitely getting smeared. Like,
Yeah.
I
he's
would wait
sweating
till
with it in his hand.
I'd wait till it would
Dishwasher
dry
safe.
before I sent it.
No,
It's
you
permanent.
would, yeah, but then he's gripping the thing, fucking white knuckling that goddamn thing.
Well, you put it
somewhere
on.
in
You put it
Baghdad.
on the cap.
where-
I put it on the
where-
Oh, I've
cap.
never actually had.
Do you
it.
ever
guys
wonder
are-
if your
it's
vagina
a-
mold ever was
It's
used
open
to...
bunks, right?
Wherever we can.
Where are guys jerking
You
off
ever,
in the
you ever,
desert?
the same way you do it in prison, bud. You fucking hang a sheet.
Is that right?
Oh, yeah.
And you just
Well,
spank
if you're-
away?
Yeah,
If
and you
you're
try not
Islamic
to
and little
rock.
kids.
Oh my god!
You try not to rock the
Ozzy.
bed too much that it makes noise. That's out of respect for the other dudes.
So the guys are in the room,
Oh yeah.
and you're just like, I gotta crank one.
What, you
here.
ain't
I got
never
one.
been to jail or had a bunk bed, son?
How many times you been arrested? Did you spank in
You've
jail?
seen Prison Break, bitch.
We don't got to talk about
Well,
stuff.
no, we're here. We're here now.
Well, sure. Rehabs, mental hospitals,
Really?
all that jazz.
The fucking car ride on the way over here. He was driving.
Yeah. It's well, I mean, what can I say? Gas stations just make me. Isn't that about the way
It's
you
the
pull
Oh
up?
yeah.
Is that Anna Kournikova over there?
Yeah, the smell of gas reminds me of my first time. They never caught him.
Well, this is certainly not going to be monetized, so make sure that you sign up for Patreon or
Yeah,
hit
right?
the
Oh
buy
my
me a
God.
coffee on chattingwithcandice.com because this is 100% going to be restricted. Also, maybe go to Spotify because the video will be up there much longer than it will be up on YouTube.
100%.
You think
This
it'll
will be
get
up for
pulled?
3 hours.
Will it get pulled over and over and over?
You think so?
Yeah. It'll get pulled until it's out. Yeah.
I think it'll be fine. Think positive.
Yeah, for the great Dave Landau. If you've never seen Dave live, you have to. It's one of the absolute best working comedians today.
Thank you.
Check him out. You'll love him. Check out Drinking Bros, Citizen Pod, and Drink Hard AF Seltzer with the great Dan Holloway. I'm Gerard Michaels. That's been Dave Landau. She is the lovely Candice Horbacz. And we'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Bye, everybody.